Get 'em Jimmy, where low shack at. The bottles getting nippy up the crack and we stacking chips. All of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated Pub Sports Radio. Time to get educated, get produced. Leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call it truth. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we be pubbing.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Thursday, August 4th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. We are running hot. I talked about not wanting to mention my post-All-Star break record because I was still in the red. We moved into the black yesterday. Really nice winning day. Really nice winning day all around. A Spreadsheet and Taint cash easily on the Twins. I went 4-1 plus 3.5 units. Orioles plus 135 cashed comfortably. Kyle Bradish did, what I had hoped he was going to do, what I thought he was capable of. The Rays' first three was a push. Phillies' first five was my only loss at plus 110. Baltimore, Texas, first five under 4. That correlated with my expectation that Bradish was going to be a bet-on pitcher after that month in the minors. Cincinnati, Miami, first 3 under 1.5 at plus 115. It looked a little dodgy in that first inning, but no runs were scored in the first 3, and 3 runs were scored in the first 5. But even that was exactly the way the stats kind of told us Mike Minor's start was going to go. He was going to shut him down early and then start getting touched. And then the Dodgers, Giants, first 5 under 4 was an easy casher. And shout out to the great Noli Knows, who was so confident in Julio Urias having a great start. So that brings our post-All-Star break record, which I was hesitant to talk about. But now that we're 214 and 194, 52.5% plus 2 units on the season, ROI plus 0.49%, average line minus 108. And, I lost 15 units on the week leading up to the All-Star break. Actually, I think if I check those exact numbers, I bet you would be a little over 15. And it was crushing. It was just fucking soul crushing. But we've got it all back. We're 26 and 10 now, 72.2% plus 15.84 units in MLB since the All-Star break. It feels good. I'm very excited about this show today because we have the triumphant return of the star of the Walking Dead, Sharpie, back in action with us. And we know that he looks at these games from a different angle. And it's so important. We always talk about, methods to success. And Sharpie's a perfect example. He has focused on what's getting him that cash. And that's focus. We always know that he loves the analysis and he loves the statistical breakdown. And where it leads him to cash is in the player prop market in MLB. And that's all he's focusing on. And that makes so much sense. We all need to find what are the angles that we succeed with? Where's our ROI the greatest? And milk the fuck out of it. That's what our guy Sharpie's doing. Jose Bouquett will be joining us for the first 5 games on the board. All of the games that he's not going to be touching on his show because they get off early. The night games will be seen on his show. So, and just because Sharpie's here, don't forget Walking Dead, 3:10 p.m. Eastern. And I hope that after we go through all these games, that will help him too, as he helps us. So that's my hope. I'm very excited to have all 3 of our hosts, myself included, working together on the show today. I think it's going to be really fun. Shout out to all you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Professor Chris in the house says, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. G. Martinez, WT down in Costa Rica. Say the Legend Girls want to eat Jimmy. I like the sound of that. There's Big Mastro. Big Mastro says, I know it's preseason, but I said I'd be here for when the NFL starts, and here it starts. We are so close to announcing the NFL and college football shows here on our channel, and it's big news, and we're doing it different this year. We're doing things very differently this year than we've done in the past, and I love the angle that we're moving towards. So I will be talking to you guys. We'll be announcing, hopefully, we were hoping to announce it by the end of this week. We're so close. So close to making big announcements about NFL and NCAA football. There's strategic investments in the house. AJ 1337. Joe Rich says, let's go. Atlanta Mets full game over 8. Cash it. Nice job. J Dub ready to go. Tom Miggins in the house shouting out our guy Sharpie. I like it. AJ saying I'm already locked in on the Raiders for preseason NFL. Jack Jenkins Goldschmidt over 1.5 total bases. There's Matty Ice, fresh off more glory. He had hit 8 straight taints, lost one. Heartbreak. That first 5 under 4.5 in St. Louis, Chicago 2 days ago, where 3 runs were scored in the bottom of the 5th. It was 2-0 going into the bottom of the 5th, and he couldn't catch the first 5 under 4.5, but gets right back to his winning ways on the Twinkies. Jojo Rich likes the Mets early, and he says this one should be a fun one. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about having Sharpie back in action. Taint parlay is in, and it's a parlay. The Taint play of the day is in. Gonna copy and paste that. Taint is in. So it starts with Red Sox money line and White Sox money line. Red Sox, White Sox. The Sox parlay for Taint. Let me set that up here. And shout out to Billy Friedrich, who got to watch the Bulldog Lance Lynn in person and got to watch a game in Chicago on the South Side for the first time in 15 years. That was a really great story. So there's the Taint parlay at plus 198. BJ says Braves today. Don Play says early bird gets the cash. Great to see you, Don Play. We had a nice day yesterday. Nice day. Very, very nice day. LJ from H-Town says Ohtani only 7 Ks. Lost a K. Damn. That's a big boy bet. That's a big boy bet. Dark day for Jeffrey Moore. That's okay, Jeffrey. Those days will happen. Michael Irvelina says back in the black, never looking back. Yes. God, yesterday felt really fucking good. And I was so confident in my action. Hopefully Moose Money will be in the chat. He got to watch his Padres in person. And there's Saturated says, how about those Padres? Don't like seeing that, Jedi. Let's get you back in the winning column. There's DJ Big Boss. I got to watch DJ Big Boss last night on Brothers and Bets, breaking down the Big 12. I enjoyed it very much. Shout out to both Big Boss and the Brothers and Bets family. Trenton Claxton looking at the Cards money line and the Brew Crew money line. Let's make sure that I got all of this fucking ready to go. Where is it? Here we go. Trenton Claxton locked in. St. Louis money line, Milwaukee money line. We are going to talk about this CFL game before we get into MLB. So I hope to be in MLB in about 10 minutes. Let's get this St. Louis Milwaukee action for Trenton Claxton so that I have it available to discuss. What game is that for St. Louis? Is that game 1, Trenton? If you could let me know, because that is the double dip. Saturated says nothing feels better than getting off the schneid and recovering your bankroll. Slatsy says 2-0 in MLB. Jimmy's playing on the Orioles, which was a thing of beauty. Thank you. Didn't even bet Jimmy's playing on the. Thank you. It's all good. We pick our spots. It's all good. IMB says Sharpie is that guy ready to get to work. Dodgers money line and San Diego money line also for Trenton. Mike M said, saw your post all-star record after you tweeted last night. Hell of a job, my guy. Let's close strong. Yeah, I was hesitant to put it out because I was still in the red overall on the year, and the numbers are your season numbers, and I didn't want to talk about. I'm having this hot streak, but yeah, I'm still negative on the year. I just felt like that was kind of a bullshit thing to do, so I didn't do that. Woo Rizza says Cardinal team total over first 5 and full game. I imagine you guys are talking about game 1. Rob Free coming off 5-0-1. Nice job, Rob. I posted on Twitter. Shit, Rob, I don't know if Rob, can you put your Twitter handle in the chat? Make sure that I follow. Big Master says, I love the excitement in your eyes when you talk about NFL and college. Yeah, I'm really, really, really excited about the change in direction. The NFL show on Tuesday nights will be brand new, completely different than last year. So we have a brand new Tuesday. But that's not really the big news for football. We have huge news for what we're doing here at Pub for football, for both NFL and college. And we're very excited to announce it. We're so close. We're so close. It'll be announced, within a week for sure of today. Ron Crawford, spreadsheet play of the day is in. Oh, and DJ Big Boss says Vegas meetup this weekend. Yeah, we got a ton of the squad in Vegas right now, which is so much fun. I love seeing everybody hanging out together. I love seeing that clip that you put out of them in the steak restaurant, just enjoying, hanging with each other, breaking bread. I love that shit. Ron Crawford, spreadsheet play today is on the Red Sox. All right. Galaxy Canyon says done with K-props. Dang it, Ohtani. Well, you don't need to be done with maybe on this show, but the host of The Walking Dead has been cashing those K-props. So don't sell them short. We have the man for the job here on the show today. Jeffrey Moore says my dad throws to the Taint parlay and make it just under 4-1. Tone saying thirsty Thursdays. All right, we got to get to work. Big shout out to Officer 50. I asked y'all. My man Robert Cherry says, "What up? Let's cash some tickets. I'm locked and loaded. Tweet everything out. At the doctor, about to get an injection in my neck and back. Wish me well, guys. Leche, we are wishing you well. Look at this. Our guy Robert Cherry coming in right before he's got to do this shit with the doctor. Respect, man. Thank you for sharing your action, and let's share good vibes and positive healing energy to our guy Robert Cherry. All right, we got to get to work. Shout out to all of you guys. Danzo, Chicago at St. Louis, over 1.5 first inning at plus 240. God, we've been watching Danzo cash these. Oh, look at Jay. Cash Pirates live at 10-1. I fucking love that. I love that. Big Boss. I can't wait. Big Boss will be a big part of our NCAA coverage here. So it's Big Boss's time of year. And here is Sharpie. You can tell he's ready to go. He is ready to go. Okay, we got to get work. Petco Park was foaming last night. Sold out on a Wednesday night. God, you guys are going to have a nice few months together. All right. Let's get, razor sharp picks. And I was going to look at that. Sharpie, 111 and 56 on 30K this year. Almost 67%. We got 2 on the show today. Very, very exciting. And then he's going to have his show at 3:10 where there'll be more glory, and hopefully all of us working together will kind of help both ways. I know that Sharpie's going to help us. I hope that we can lead him to more K-props here. Coin, I get it, man. This is all about accountability and transparency. That's the difference with our channel. That's all. That means so much to us. So it's all good. We will get back in the black for you. There's that Taint play today. Okay, we got to get to work. And Crawford and Taint lining up again. You're right. Of course they are, because part of the parlay is the Red Sox. And of course, we have our guy on, Ron Crawford on the Red Sox. I love it. Tom Miggins, big dog parlay, Phillies money line, Houston money line, Dodgers money line at plus 212 for Tone. Money line Mills, I'm on a heater. Yeah, feels good, man. LJ from H. Johnson says, Dan Brittany Griner just found guilty in Russia. We knew that was going to happen. I imagine it's going to be 10 years, but Biden will have to do something. He'll have to do something. Sorry, Rob, I don't know if I follow you. Free 18, Rob. I will put that here right now so that I start following you. All right, let's get to work. Shout out to all you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Nutflush Allen in the house. All right. And Sharpie says if we get caught with vape pens in Russia, we get 20 years. Stop acting like the rules are not the rules. It sucks. I understand that sentiment for sure. It's one thing that Pete taught me was that when it comes to political shit on the show, that Pete and I should just stick our fucking heads in the sand and focus only on sports. And that's what we're going to do right now. Focus only on sports. Let's go into CFL right now. 20 and 13 on the year, 60.6% plus 5.95 units. ROI plus 18.03%. Average line minus 111. We're coming off a 3-2 week. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Look, I was the leader of the fuck Danny Machocha wagon. He does not deserve to be the coach of the Alouettes, and we knew he was going to weasel his fucking sneaky ass into that job and fire Kari. And I didn't think he was going to fire Baron Miles, but it just shows the kind of fucking dick that he is. In saying that, every single person is on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in this game. A Winnipeg Blue Bombers team that hasn't had a bye. That's the back. We know what back-to-back road games means in the NFL. They had an incredible fourth quarter comeback against Calgary, a very good Calgary Stampeders team. Now they travel all the way across the country against the Alouette team, and everybody is on the Bombers. Can they keep this up? Another thing here is that this is a back-to-back with Montreal. They play Montreal in Winnipeg next week. Lucas Ryan says yes. Ron Crawford leaning towards Winnipeg. The Bombers come off that impressive come-from-behind victory. Zach Caleros, 270 yards, 4 touchdowns, 22 of 30s. Looks incredible. Brady Oliveira runs for 110 yards. You know, when push came to shove, they were just much better than a very tough Stampeders team. Everybody that's on the Alouettes has been cashing week in and week out on the Alouettes. So they're like, why should I stop this? The Bombers. Why should I stop this Bombers train? Bombers are 4-0 against the spread against, shit opposition so far. Teams with a losing record, I should say. So they're like, why would I stop now? And I get it. Montreal's defense is bad. It's worse now after firing their defensive coordinator. They can't run the ball, and that seemed to be the only hole in the Bombers' defense last week was against the run. Trevor Harris led the team in rushing with 39 yards on 4 attempts. I mean, and Trevor Harris was playing really strong. So Lucas Ryan says, don't get me wrong, my knowledge of CFL is brand new. No, it's all good, Lucas. But he says, but I've been watching their games, man. This team is focused and stepping up. Jeffrey Moore is right. This line was 4.5 this morning. And then people just started hammering the Bombers. Slatsy says Owls allow second most rushing yards per game, 5.1 carries. Harris banged up for Owls with no backup. I think he's fine. I mean, I'm sure that hit hurt, but this is his last chance at being a starting quarterback, in my estimation, for Trevor Harris, and he's making the most of it. Bombers grind out the win and cover on Winnipeg -5.5 at -107. Robert Franklin's on the over at 7.5. Jeffrey Moore says, do you ever sprinkle a little money on the money line when you take the? There's no way I'm taking the Alouettes here, and I don't mean to have set that up wrong. I would love to see the tickets and cash on this game because I imagine it's 99% on the Bombers, and that just makes me nervous. And the second. So this is where I wanted to sort of talk about this. And Jack Jenkins hammered the -4 early this morning. That's a nice line. Nice line. Pinnacle had moved it to 6 early, and I knew that the other books would follow suit. Bombers are now -5.5, -115 at Bet365. The team props here for Bet365, they've got the Bombers at 27.5, -120 to the over. I thought about moving on that. We know that the Alouettes have a really strong special teams, and that's their opportunity to put points on the board in this game. Pinnacle has that team total at 26.5. Then I do not think I at first I was like, God, this Alouettes defense is so bad. The Alouettes should put up points whenever they want. But are the Bombers going to be, I keep screwing that up. The Bombers are going to be able to put points whenever they want against this weak Alouette defense. But are the Bombers really going to be going all out here on another road game? We have teams in the CFL that have had 2 byes. The Bombers have had no byes, and this is the beginning of a home and home. And remember, they lost last year in Montreal 28-14 when Caleros was injured. The team totals at Pinnacle are 26.5 and 20.5. The team totals at Bet365 are an 8-point difference, with the Alouettes at 19.5 juice to the over. Slatsy says Stamps coach Dickinson out with COVID. Oh, that's important. Thank you for letting me know that. Moneyline Mill says I jumped on the Blue Bombers train today, added it to a parlay with 3 other plays. I'm not going to take the Bombers. And I can understand all you guys making so much money on them just are going to keep hammering them until that stops. And that's fair. I'm not going to do that. I would like to figure out whether or not I think that the Bombers defense will be so susceptible. The thing is that I don't expect the Alouettes to be able to move the ball well. We know that they can't run the ball. And if you can't run the ball, you create a pretty easy defense when all you have to do is make sure that Trevor Harris doesn't beat you, which also means that there's nice job, Armchair MMA 6-1. Oh no. This must be Von Polo's wife saying Von Polo is sick. Keep him in your prayers. I'm so sorry to hear that. That must be his wife telling us that. Man, I will reach out to you guys after the show. I'm so sorry to hear that. Jesus, that's scary. Okay. Thank you for letting us know. I'll reach out and see if I can get more information for us. Man. Wow. We love Von Polo very much. Big part of our fam here. So I'll figure out more about what's going on. But we're thinking of you, Von Polo, and damn. Okay. And then I'll get more information here. I hate hearing that. Okay. Back to this spot. What I want to figure out is this angle. Is with the Alouettes defense being so bad, not being able to defend defend the run, the Bombers knowing that Zach Collaros is stretching defenses, Oliveira is creating with Collaros throwing so well, Oliveira is racking up yards. Are they just going to play a quiet road game? I'm starting to think that that's the situation, that this is just going to be a quiet road game where they keep Montreal off the board. And they know they don't need to put up too many points to win. And the problem is the Alouettes defense so bad that you can't trust the under 47.5 and that you would prefer just to only back the Alouettes team total under. And I think that's where I'm getting. I think that's where I'm ending up. That the Alouettes defense that's allowing 27.6 points per game. They just allowed 24 points to Hamilton, and Hamilton's offense looks weak this year. But I don't trust the Bombers to go all out here on the second straight road game when they're sitting 8-0 and haven't had a bye all year. I expect a business-type performance from the Bombers and the Alouettes to struggle to score. With all that being said, I have to decide between the Alouettes team total under or the under 47. I'm not going to do that right now. Under 47.5. I'm going to do that this afternoon. But that's what I will be on. I'm either the Alouettes team total under, which I'm a little bit leaning towards there, or the under 47.5. And I wish you guys all great luck on the Bombers. I'm a little nervous about this spot for them. Not that I think the Alouettes are a good football team. Just if this was an NFL, we'd want to fade the Bombers. And we don't have enough markets with CFL betting where we can't focus on team totals in the first half or the first quarter, which is bullshit. The under 10 in the first quarter total is juiced to minus 125 for a reason. Okay. That's CFL. So I'm going to be on either the Alouettes team total under or the under 47.5. And Jack Jenkins says, I think you're spot on with analysis. Bombers lack rush defense and Alouettes run isn't that great. Yeah. The Alouettes aren't going to be able to expose that spot. They're going to try, and it's probably going to fail, but they're going to try to open it up for Trevor Harris, and it's going to fail. So That's my spot. So sorry, I can't give you a definitive exactly my bet, and I don't want to double up here, but I'll be on either. Actually, I don't hate the double up, to be honest with you. I would be pretty confident that one would come through for me. Alouettes team total under or under 47.5. I'll make the decision. All right, let's move on to MLB and welcome back a man destroying the books and hosting his own show here on our channel at 3:10 p.m. Eastern every single day. Both him and Jose, they don't take days off. They're not sick. They don't go on vacation. They're here to rock for you guys every single day. And I'm excited to have him back on. Please welcome to the show from San Diego, California, Sharpie in the house. Sharpie, how are you, my man?
From San Diego, but we'll never put on that Dookie fucking Brown. Fuck no. Let's go Dodgers. Once again, still no World Series. Keep pumping up your team, Padre fans. I've seen you pay money before, and ain't shit ever fucking happened again. I'm glad you got some good players, but once again, they still gotta play, and they don't know how to play. So let's go Dodgers.
Oh, I love it. I love the opening. LJ from H-Town says, Sharpie prop god in the house. I'm excited. I'm excited about today's show. I love working with Sharpie. I love his energy. And I can't. It's fun. It's good. The rivalry in your division is just so much fun. All right.
Hey, calm down 1 second. Rivalry is the Giants. Okay. The Padres haven't won a World Series, let alone an NL West title in 10 years. Like, nah. They might call us our rivals to sell tickets, but no, they're not our rivals.
No, I hear that, and that's why I said in your division. But I love that the Padres are trying to make a statement here. I love that the Giants are falling off because Not Flush all got us on the team total under for the season. I love this. This is fun. Rocco Rogers says, Sharpie in the morning. Let's go. Mark Schellenberg says the sharp one has arrived. We have afternoon baseball popping off in just 1 hour and 5 minutes. And when we talk about this baseball team, we also talk about our producer and his excellent work with this ball club. And that is Jose Bouquett. Jose will be joining us for the afternoon baseball game. So there will be 3 of us capping, and then it will be just Sharpie and I for the evening games. Please welcome to the show our producer, Jose One Hole Zenyatta Lamb Chop Bouquett. Jose, how are you?
I'm doing all right. I wish I could say the same thing about the Yankees, but I know they're going to fold in the playoffs too. So I'm glad that Sharpie and I are like-minded in our rivals, rivals in quotes again. But yeah, I like it. This is going to be a lot of fun. I also agree with Sharpie, though. Dodgers are better.
I can't wait. This is shaping up. The National League is shaping up to be incredible. The American League, we will see. All right, let's get to work. All of us, we are running very, very, very hot in the post-All-Star break. Let's keep it going. We have the spreadsheet. We have Taint. We have both those looks in. It's time for us to do work. We started 12:35 p.m. Eastern. Milwaukee Brewers 57-47, 31-27 on the road at the Pittsburgh Pirates 42-62, 23-29 at home. We're at PNC Park in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Let me just bring back up the weather here to get started. This has been a fascinating series. And how often did Pete tell us, got to bet the Pirates as dogs at home? They're going for this sweep. Also, we've had so many cappers in the chat say they don't believe in this Brewer squad. It's all kind of coming to fruition here. It's 86 Fahrenheit. Feels like 92. It's very, very hot in Pittsburgh. 3.2 miles per hour out to left center, and it gets heavier throughout the game. 3.2 miles per hour out to left center, and ends up at 8.9 miles per hour. So it keeps getting stronger as the game goes on. Let's take a look at the line movement here. There's been a 20-cent move to the Milwaukee Brewers. There had been a 10-cent move, but there was an extra 10 cents 23 minutes ago. Then from a totals perspective, opening up at 7.5, 4 hours, almost 5 hours later, it moved to 8, which is where it stands right now. 8 minus 115 to the under. Sports Insights, 12,622 tickets in. a lot of tickets, and they're all ready to go for us here today. 14% of the tickets, 28% of the cash on the Pittsburgh Pirates, 48% of tickets, 81% of the cash on the under. Woodruff, 9-3, 3.55 ERA, 1.14 WHIP, has not been good on the road this year. 4-3, 4.70 ERA, 259 opponents batting average, but he just looked excellent in his last start on the road. 6 1/3, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 9 Ks, 2 walks in a 4-1 win at the Red Sox. Zach Thompson has been bad at home. He's been bad everywhere, but even worse at home. 5.09 ERA, 1.48 WHIP. At home, he's 2-6 with a 5.51 ERA, 283 opponents batting average. His last start was at home, and he got lit up by the Phillies. 5 2/3, 11 hits, 7 earned runs. The Brewers are smashing righties, and I look at their lineup, and I don't get it. But they are doing it. 248, 767 OPS against righties. The Pirates' struggle against righties continue. The Brewers' bullpen now have a 4 ERA. We thought it was going to be elite. They don't have Hader anymore, but Williams can do the job. Pirates bullpen, 4.50 ERA, 1.40 WHIP, 25 of 45 converted save opportunities. Sharpie, we have afternoon action popping off in an hour and 2 minutes. We will start with you. Brewers, Pirates, take it away.
I mean, I do got action in this game, and I happened to post it last night, and we've, like you said, the line already moved. I already beat this number. I got Woodruff last night at 6.5, -134. Shout out to the chat, my boy Nilo. Thank God I got somebody with a legal book who can make fucking bets for me, because being in California, you can get fucked in the side of the neck sometimes by only having one book. So last night, FanDuel did put out 6.5. It was at -110, got hit to -134, and was at 7.5 within 25 fucking minutes. Wow. It should have been at 7.5, guys, and that's probably where you're going to see it at most likely today. But I'd still bet it at 7.5. And I know everybody and their mom's just going to look back at the last few games he had versus Pittsburgh and be like, "Oh, he had fucking 8 and 9 on a back-to-back. Oh, that's fucking easy." Why don't you do a little more digging than that, guys? At the end of the day, be a better fucking capper. Why is he doing it versus this team? Well, this guy dominates the left-handed side. Pittsburgh will run up to 7 to 8 left-handed bats versus a right-handed pitcher. This guy strikes out 14.5 lefties per 9. And now you're going to run into these numbers of these Pittsburgh Pirates where he's already faced them 3. This will be the 3rd time. And they've never been past the 23% K percent. And now they're at 27. This just adds up for a Woodruff fucking throat cutting today, guys. So I'm on his K prop 6.5. And I endorse the 7.5 here.
Does that mean that you would also endorse the Brewers' first 5 on a -1 line to drop the VIG down?
2 different caps, and that's where it's like, that's when I talked to you last night. I'm like, dude, it takes me 3-4 hours just to run numbers for K props. And if you think K props have any correlation to do with a fucking total, it's like 50-50 realistically. Like last night, thank God Noli was like, dude, we own him. Julio owns him right here. Sharpie, Julio owns him. So I knew he was going to go 6 innings. I knew he'd average a strikeout per inning type deal. And this is the spot where this guy's going 6+ innings every fucking game pretty much. And I know you said he's been bad on the road, but a 4.07, a 4.5 is 3 runs in 6 innings. So 4.07 ain't too shabby in my opinion. So I just think he dominates them. He's dominated them both times. When I looked at the averages versus lefties and righties, it's the same. They're both sub 200, so he does dominate the left-handed side of the bats, where Corbin Burns does run into some problems, and that's where Corbin ran into his problems, is how many righties they will throw out there, guys. They're a switch-hitting team, so they will switch their whole opposite lineup versus a righty. They'll send out 7 to 8 lefties and 1 righty, and then they'll switch it the other way. It's kind of fun to pick on them, and it's not just their strikeout numbers.
I love this. I love getting all these angles. Let's hear what Jose has to say. His Pirates in play now, just 6 games under 500 at home. Jose, how are you hammering afternoon baseball pops off in 59 minutes?
No, I pretty much agree with Sharpie. I've seen Woodruff go against the Pirates a bunch of times now, and it seems like the first start against the Pirates, he just destroys them, dominates them, and it's been back-to-backs for him. And in the second start, it gets a little worse, but a little worse is like 3 earned runs in like 7 innings, which is still a good start. So I also was looking at like Milwaukee first 5 -1s, -110. I did not, and I still do not trust their bullpen. Like I've been saying, their bullpen was 2 dudes, 2 really, really good dudes, and then they traded one of those really, really good dudes and DFA'd some of those guys like the Nelson Lamet, which was hilarious to see. But I ultimately agree with you guys. I think I'll probably end up moving on first 5 -1 -110 for me.
You're getting a -1 and -110. The -1 first 5 -1s being offered to me at -134.
Oh, that's gross.
That's fucking egregious, man. Love hearing that, Billy. That makes me so happy, man. God, that's what baseball's supposed to do for us. Joe Free says Sharpie's the K prop master. No joke. Let's fucking go, Sharpie. We found that. Billy found that K prop at 7 at -119 at Bookmaker.
I fucked him in the eye hole last night, bro. I got that juice at 6.5, and I bet the 7 at +118 last night for a half. I doubled it up. I knew that number was wrong. I do my math. I do my work. And they're dumb. They're going to give you a man's averages over his last 10 games. That's how they give you K-props. It's now your job to dig through it and bet the right ones. And if you would have tuned in yesterday, fellas, who all lost on Ohtani, I would have told you this was the day to stay the fuck away. Those A's bats were hitting, guys. Like, this is the hottest team he ran into all year long. And he still had a good fucking game, guys. 2 earned runs in almost 6 innings. Like, y'all are complaining, but you should have looked at the other numbers. It's not just about what has the man done. It's about who's he going up against. So definitely it's a must. It's a Woodruff spot to me right here. And like you said with Thompson, I think this is his second or third time seeing the Brewers in the last fucking month. So it's never good running into the same division. And Woodruff owns the Pirates. And I hear you guys keep saying like they lost the back end of their bullpen. Like Rogers is 1B to Hader. Hader was the best closer and pitcher. Rogers was the second best. So it's not like they really got worse closer-wise, in my opinion. Rogers is elite and has been elite for years. So they still got an 8-9, guys. They're just shitty everywhere else.
I like it. I like it. If that first 5 -1s -109 at Circa, if that was available to me, I would bet it. Let's see what it's available at Pinnacle to see if Jose wants to make that official. I'm sure that they'll give a nice line here.
But yes, I'll make it official whenever you find the line.
Okay, let's see that first -1/2 -163. Oh, -1 -120. Jesus.
Wow. Yeah,
Okay.
Bovada's -110 still.
And we got the -109 at Circa. Thank you to Stella Girl for that. All right. Lock in Jose here. And Jose, so he's on the Brewers first 5 -1 at -109. O'Brien Palmer says my book has Woodruff strikeouts over 7.5. Should you still take it? I mean, Sharpie talked about that already as well. I know it's a really tough question to answer, and he's already answered it.
I bet both, bro. Like at the end of the day, I bet both, but I did put more on the 6.5. But I got my 7.5 at +118.
Yeah. So I don't think there's just a straight answer on should you. There isn't one. It's up to you. But Sharpie did move on.
Tread lightly. Well. I have him for 8+ today. So do what you want to do with that. Just when you're paying extra juice, it doesn't mean you're going to – it's not a bad bet if you lose. And you're not paying -140, -150. Like you're still under that -130 range. That's not a bad bet. They just posted a wrong number at the end of the day. You can't be afraid of not wanting to still bet the spot. He owns this team. They're going to stack up lefty bats, and he's going to strike them the fuck out.
And the 6.5 is at -200 now at DraftKings. Wow. That pays to follow Sharpie on Twitter. All right, let's roll on. That's the 12:35 p.m. Eastern spot. And Sharpie, for your action here, for official action, it's totally up to us how we want to handle it. If we want to make things official or not, it's I hesitate to put in something official when you destroy a line move and then you're here at this number.
I don't like giving out lines that they can't fucking bet, and I don't want to give out a half unit play because that's what I put on the 7.5 was a half unit as a full unit play. So I told them what I'm doing. I'm not going to make it a full unit play for the show. I don't do shit like that. I'm giving you my bets, and I'm telling you they're going to cash.
I agree. That's well put. All right, let's go into the double dip. We're going to talk about both games here. Chicago Cubs at St. Louis Cardinals. 2:15 p.m. Eastern is game 1 at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, Missouri. Let's move over to the weather in St. Louis. It's humid but not quite as bad or nearly as bad as it is in Pittsburgh. 78 Fahrenheit, feels like 81. The weather the wind is right to left, just 3.9 miles per hour at first, gets up to 6.6, and then starts, it's all over the map, really. It's sometimes it's a little bit out, sometimes it's coming in, but it's not strong, and it's nothing to worry about. Let's move over to the line history. Game 1 of the Cubs Cards, Stroman versus Michaelis. This is a nice pitching matchup. I was a little surprised. I guess it's his contract, but I was a little surprised that nobody was interested in Stroman at the trade deadline. Even here in Toronto, now that we put Stripling on the island, I know we have Mitch White. I get, but I don't know. Maybe I'm sentimental.
The Cubs just don't know what they're doing.
Sucks, okay? I'm glad he's gone. You can have him. Thank you.
We're not that I was surprised that the overall feeling here, at least in with the Jays fans on social media, where no one's interested in Mitch White. I thought there would be some, but when you guys got rid of Stripling, I thought, well, why do we want somebody that the Dodgers don't want, and they're a team that's going to go for World Series every year? But talk to me about Mitch.
Mitch White's got plus shit, bro. He's got really good front of the line, second, third man rotation shit. He just can't ever keep it under control, and he can't produce back to back to back type starts. It's just disgusting. He's probably going to be a fucking bullpen piece because he's so inconsistent. And do you really want to trade for a bullpen piece?
Yeah, we're in trouble. Dabby Cab joining us here as well. I believe he's coming home from Vegas today. Let's grab. Oh, by the way, JPZ backing the idea with Woodruff, saying last 5 games, 8+ Ks in 4 out of 5, and of course, Sharpie crushed that 6.5 that was available early. I'm going to copy and paste Dabby Cab's action, and it starts with the Cardinals' first 5 minus a half at +110 in game 1. That's where it starts. He's also on the Jays' first 5 and the Padres team total over 4.5. Okay, so let's go here. Cubbies, Stroman, Michaelis. We did the line history. There's been a 10-cent move to the Cardinals. We'll go over to the total. It's been a 5-cent move to the over at 7.5. Just a 5-cent move. Go over to the cash flow here. And oh, sorry, that's the first one. Here's the second one. 9,230 tickets in. You have 84% of the tickets, 90% of the cash on Michaelis, and just 10 cents of movement. That's a bit of a red flag for me. 62% of tickets on the over, 74% of cash on the over. Stroman's been so good away from Wrigley this year. 3-2, 2.00 ERA, 217 opponents batting average. He just shut down the Giants in 6 innings, didn't allow a run. We were on the under, first 5 under in that one. That was on Friday, I believe, Friday of last week. 3.99 ERA, 1.18 whip on the season. Michaelis coming off a 6-2 win at Washington. He's been very good at home this year. 2.31 ERA, 191 opponents batting average. There was talk yesterday, and I moved on the first 5 over 4 yesterday. Of course, that was wiped out, but there was talk about Michaelis' difficulty in division. He doesn't succeed as well in division. In his last, I went over his last start. Cubs versus righties, 246, 706 OPS. Cards versus lefties, 269, 782 OPS. And the Cards bullpen, 3.64 ERA, 1.23 whip, while the Cubs, 4.07 ERA, 1.31 whip. Let's switch it around on this one. We'll head over to Jose Bouquett, Cubs, Cardinals, game 1.
Well, I ultimately tend to pass on most doubleheaders, truthfully. Game 2 with Quintana starting and making his debut a little more interesting, just because who knows what the Cardinals will do. We all know that the Pirates really protected him through the 3rd time to the order and all that stuff. So we'll see what happens there. But ultimately, Miles Michaelis' career against the Cubs, he's pitched well, 4-2 with a sub-2 ERA, or I should say just a 2.03, not sub-2. But in 2022 this year, he's pitched against them twice, 1-0, but a 4 ERA. And I'll say, I looked at the start, the one star where he gave up a couple runs, there was a 13-4 final. I could see him easily just, pitching to contact, trying to get outs to get this game through. So I truthfully lead towards the Cardinals. And if we think that our guy Marcus Stroman, not our guy, your guy, I should say, I do not like Marcus Stroman at all. But if he thinks he can go out there and do his thing, I know I could see another first 5 under here. But I had passed on most doubleheaders, like I say, so passing on this one too.
Sorry to hear that. Reading the chat about Sharpie writing to Brizzy. So, Brizzy, we need your help producing and hate hearing that about Big Show. I'll reach out to him. Okay, nothing official at this point. You want to stay off this first game of the double dip?
Yeah, I'm staying off, and I'll probably stay off the second game too, because it's always nice to know who's pitching for the Cubs, which I don't know who it is so far. So,
well,
I believe it's Justin Steele.
Okay.
Oh, really?
That's who they had up versus Quintana yesterday, so I expect that matchup to still be the same.
See, I think. I thought it might be Drew Smiley.
I expected it to be Steele because they had him yesterday, and I thought it was going to be Steele start today with first against Miles, but like I said, I'm not sure, and I ultimately passed because I want to see if the Cardinals use Quintana the same way the Pirates did, how that goes, But like I said, doubleheaders not my favorite.
I think the Cardinals are comfortable with the Mikolas Stroman. It got pushed back to his regular game. They already pitched against each other on June 3rd, and Mikolas destroyed him while fucking Stroman got his asshole taken from him that day. Stroman's been a fucking beast. Like, at the end of the day, me and Noli and a lot of guys, we look to back him versus aces, bro. This is a guy you want to back when you got a stud on the other side of the mound. Well, at the end of the day, look through his fucking box scores and no, dude, he's been a fucking ace all year long. 10 out of his last 11 games, he's given up 2 earned runs or less, the one game being versus this Cardinals. I'm the type of guy who doesn't just look at 20, 30 year-long stats. I will run up your 200 at-bats type, and I will look at them every time you played. I got 2 games versus the Cubs and 3 games versus the Cardinals, and Mikolas has seen this team before by the numbers, and he dealt versus them. So I expect a solid 6 innings from Mikolas. By the numbers, he's running up against the same type of team he's already seen 2 times. They're hitting 251, 721 OPS over their last 200 plate appearances, and that matches up a lot of the other times when he's gone up against them. So I expect a decent game from him. I just hate betting on a soft tosser, a guy who throws 90 miles per hour and spins the fucking ball and places it where he wants. Like, that to me is just, ugh. But it fucking works for him. The guy's been elite all year, and I expect to bounce back from Stroman. When I run up these numbers from June 3rd to today, they've dropped off some, but they're still a team that crushes the fucking ball. So, I mean, I can't bet Stroman. Not in this spot. The numbers are almost drastically the same from June 3rd when he ran up against this team. So he got destroyed that day, so I've got to stay off.
Do you have any concern with what Don Mack is talking about, Mikolas having a start pushed back a day when he was probably ready to go?
Do you understand that this guy pitched in a league where they pitched every 6 days for a couple years?
Yeah, you're right.
I'm not worried about this guy being pushed back a day.
Interesting.
Nah, he pitched in the international leagues. That's what I'm getting at, and that's their pitching schedule. If you didn't catch my drift, I wasn't trying to be a dick.
No, it's all good. Yeah, no, it's all good. All good. All right, and back to the spot. 62% ticket, 74% cash on the over. I'm going to hesitate here.
Quintana? Could I talk Quintana real quick?
Let's do it. Let's talk game 2.
Quintana's in my black book, bro. And if you know about my black book, this black book be winning us a whole lot of motherfucking money. So I track everybody's game logs in here by 200 plate appearances versus everybody they fucking played. Well, this will be the 3rd fucking time, or I believe the 4th time now, is going to see the fucking Cubs. Well, we're not going to take the first game of the year because there's no numbers. 422, he ran up against a team that was smoking the ball. He went 4.2 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs. And then when he faced them 623, they were crushing the ball again. 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs. And now they're not hitting the ball at all. He's handled this team when they can hit. I expect Quintana to go out there and fucking deal in one of the best pitching ballparks in all of fucking baseball. I expect a big day for Quintana. So this team's just not hitting, and he's handled them 2 times already this year when they were hitting.
Interesting. Talking about game 2, we do know that it's Newcomb will be the starter for the Cubs. Any thoughts on Quintana's first start as a St. Louis Cardinal, Jose?
No, yeah, I Sharpie might not catch my show as often because I am capping during his show and he's probably decompressing during mine and everything. But I say Sharpie is the better capper of the two of us often, and I obviously trust Sharpie here. I would rather sit back and watch Quintana do his thing for the first time just to see how they use him and all that stuff. But hey, Sharpie's Black Book, I trust it. If you're in it, you make money. So shout out to Sharpie and shout out to Jose Quintana.
I'm interested to see what Jose does.
This is a guy I would not bet on the first half of the season, bro. I kept trying to say it was a fluke. It was a fluke. I'd make excuses up. Like when he dealt versus the Dodgers played a night game the night before ESPN and had the very first day game. So I wrote it off as that. No, this guy's been fucking good all fucking year, bro. Like, I'm surprised nobody looked after him. His problem last year, he threw 70% balls, 30% strikes. This guy's like nibbling on the edges and staying there all year. When I watch this guy, it's like it's old school Quintana, bro. And Quintana used to be really good to us guys in the bank accounts.
Yeah, and God, he looked great in that final start as a against the Pirate against the Phillies. He looked great at home. 5 2/3, 4 hits, 4 Ks, 2 walks. And the Cubs can get to lefties. Filthy Stick says Quintana's K's or St. Louis money line. I think that something that will help lead you to the answer is just seeing what happens in game 1 and looking at the lineups in game 2. Interestingly enough, though, not that this matters that much because it's only 1,223 tickets in for game 2, but 9% of the tickets are in, 49% of the cash are on the Cubs. So someone's made a big bet on Newcomb, which is nuts, absolutely nuts. Trust Newcomb. Remember,
We're talking Newcomb from the Braves that the Braves gave up on along.
Yeah,
kid? Ah, man.
Yeah, he doesn't have many innings in the minors or in majors. Was a 15th overall pick, but that was a long time ago. He's 29 years old now. Okay, so no official spots here. Did you want to make Quintana in any shape, form an official spot for you on the late game?
That one I haven't yet, but I got to save something for my show. But I've got a few more I'm going to bet in this spot. But I definitely want to see a lineup. But, dude, I think it's a smash spot in his strikeout prop, guys. He's going up against a team walking 5.8%, striking out 25.5% of the time with a 203 average and a 657 OPS over their last 200 plate appearances versus lefties. It's not about season long for me, guys. I track these guys per 200 at bats every fucking 2 weeks, and they are on fucking down right now. He's dealt versus this team when they were hitting 250 and an 800 OPS 2 different times. These things have dropped drastically. This is a big game spot. I'm going to wait for my show till I pull the trigger on that one.
Oh, I love it. Okay, let's move on to 3:45 p.m. Eastern. Los Angeles Dodgers 71-33, 36-18 on the road at San Francisco Giants 51-54. God, I love seeing that under 500 record. Makes me so happy. Yes, it is Clayton Kershaw, and Sharpie's got the Kershaw jersey right there.
World Series jersey.
Too. It is beautiful. Kershaw 7-3, 2.66 ERA, 0.98 WHIP, 84 Ks and 81 in the third. Has allowed just 6 home runs in those 81 innings. Last 2 starts, he's been hit a little. Last start, 5 in the third, 8 hits, 5 runs, 3 of which were earned. 3 Ks, no walks, and 5-3 win at Colorado in the thin air. He's been very good on the road this year. 5-3, 2.53 ERA, 215 opponents batting average. Going up against Jacob Junis, who any team could have got him for a cup of coffee in the offseason, and I'm waiting for him to fall apart, but he has not fallen apart. Did not allow a run in 4 innings in the 5-4 win at home versus the Cubs last out. He's not being as good at Oracle as he has been on the road. At Oracle, 3.55 ERA, 248 opponents batting average. He's got a 2.78 ERA, 1.05 whip on the season somehow. The Dodgers, 259, 782 OPS versus righties, smash righties, and they've seen Junis this year, but they didn't hit him that hard when they saw him. The Giants versus lefties, 244, 748 OPS, but I don't trust those numbers when I look at this Giants lineup, and they're just falling apart and barely going to make it to the finish line this year. Dodgers bullpen, very good, 3.22 ERA, 1.11 whip. Giants bullpen, trash, 4.41 ERA, 1.39 whip. Now, earlier this morning, Nutflush said, what's the total on the Dodgers game? And it was 8 at -110, which is where it is right now. Pinnacle, though, has moved it around a bit. And also the team total for the Dodgers, if we think they're going to get the Kershaw, has moved around a little bit. Let's see if it's moved here at Bet365. The team total has not moved. It's 4.5 at -130. It did move a few cents lower. At Pinnacle is -129 when we talked about it. Then it went down to -127. I'll see what it is right now, just because Pinnacle's market moves I find so helpful. Here we go with the Dodgers Giants. The team total is at it's gone back to -129, so it's gone back 2 cents to where it was when I first looked at it. Let's take a look at the weather. Although in Oracle, it just doesn't play that big of a factor. 9.7 miles per hour to left center, moves up to 12.1. But it's much warmer in the Bay Area than usual.
It does play a factor in day games.
Okay, in day games.
Nighttime, it hits the cold water and shoots itself back.
Yeah, it's a big pitcher's ballpark. But I guess okay. And then let's move over to the line history here for the Giants Dodgers spot. The Giants have taken 15 cents worth of cash, although the first move was the Dodgers have taken 15 cents of cash. The first move was towards the Giants. And then we have this total opened up, juice to the under, and now a pick 'em. And then cash flow this morning, most of the money was on the under, and it stayed that way. Not as much, though. It was 70% of tickets. Now it's 70% of tickets on the under, 63% of cash, and 15% of tickets and 58% of cash on the Giants, which is confounding that the market would think that Junis would have another good start. Let's go over to Sharpie. Dodgers and Giants. Take it away.
I don't think that the market is seeing Junis having a good start. I think they're going back through Clayton Kershaw's game logs versus the Giants. This guy hasn't had really a good game since the Giants since 2020. So I think that's what they're going to bank it off of. He's been fucking plagued by the home run ball versus the Giants in those games when you go back through that game log. Well, we get a spot today where if there was a fucking day for Clayton Kershaw to go out and fucking deal versus this team, it's fucking today. This is the third time facing them. And when I pull out my book and I run the numbers up today compared to when they were at the two other times, this is a fucking layup spot. Last time he ran into this team, he was coming off the IL. He went 4 innings, 4 Ks, and got hit around. The next time, 724, he got whacked. 4.1 innings, 6 strikeouts, got hit. They were hitting 290 with an 800 OPS, 260 with a 900 OPS in those games. That ain't the fucking Giants right now versus lefties. Over the last 15 days, they're walking 9.4%, striking out at a 26% clip with a 227 average and a 671 OPS. They've fallen off the fucking earth versus lefties, and you just got to pick on them while you can, guys. Urias hit his last night. Fucking Anderson fucking down. They keep giving us -160 lines on a team with the worst bullpen in fucking baseball in the Giants, and a team that can't fucking hit lefties for the life of them right now. Like, I thought they were trap lines. I kept just betting them over the last few days, taking the Dodgers money line. Like, what the hell? We haven't won 6 straight games versus the Giants since 2021. The Giants have given up. Okay, I heard somebody in the chat talk about, Padres Stadium was cracking last night. Well, that's the problem with the Padres is back in April last year, you guys were acting like it was the playoffs, and you guys need to learn how to take it as a season. Not every game's a fucking atmosphere where you're supposed to have a playoff game versus who the fuck were they playing last night? And there was a playoff atmosphere, bro. Like, that's what the Padres need to understand. And the Giants have just straight given up, guys. At the end of the day, the only person who cares on that team is Dave Kepler. And, at least he goes to the gym 4 or 5 hours a day. Because other than that, this team is just fade. I get it. It's another 4-game sweep the Dodgers are going for versus the Giants. But it's either Dodgers or fucking nothing right here. There's no way in hell you're catching me betting on. Even if Junis has a good game, like fucking dude last night had a good game, their bullpen still fucking sucks, guys. And there's drastic difference when we come to the bullpens. Drastic difference when you come to the bats. Just 2 different teams going in 2 different directions, guys. Clayton Kershaw, 5.5 strikeouts is at -140. I'm going to half unit bet that. I can't put it on the show for a full, strictly because of the Giants have beaten the dog shit out of him over the last 2 years. And I do have to pay attention to that.
Yeah, I feel you. That's a great breakdown. And the reason why I was saying that the market was sort of indicating that Junis would have a good start was just because of the money that's come in on the under, when Nutflush's first feeling was like, should we move on the over? Should we move on the over? Which was my thought process as well, because I think Junis is so vulnerable. But big bets have come in on the under in this one. Over 5.5 Ks sounds easily attainable for Clayton Kershaw. Jose Bouquet, what do you have to say about this spot? Dodgers, Giants.
I was on the same boat as you with Nutflush. My first instinct was the over in this game. Clayton Kershaw, I think anything that he gives up is just kind of a bonus, because obviously Junis is the one that we think can get touched up here. He's had a couple of good starts. Can he follow up another good start here against the Dodgers? Like you mentioned, 2 earned runs in his start, 5 innings. On top of that, the Giants bullpen is just not good. So if he goes 5 innings, I'll take the rest of the game with a crappy Giants bullpen. Honestly, I saw Cappers in the chat, and maybe I'll ask Sharpie this because he's the Dodgers expert as opposed to me here. The Padres and Dodgers series starts tomorrow, I believe. Is there a look ahead spot perhaps here? The Giants grabbed this last game. I don't know. What do you think?
I know how you just said look ahead, dude. The Dodgers don't look ahead. This is maybe a spot the Padres do. The Padres aren't mentally where the Dodgers are at. Dodgers have been in the playoffs won the division 7 out of the last 8 years. How many World Series have they been? They don't take games off. They the first half of the year with the Dodgers, I get it. A lot of people were fading them in certain spots, and you should. And they're not going to play every game like it's a game to win. And they lost a lot of games versus shitty teams because they understand it's a 162-game season. They're not losing those games to shitty teams in the second half, guys. They understand how to fucking win and play baseball. It's a 162-game season. It's a fucking marathon, not a race, guys. And with the Padres getting Melvin this year, I thought that was the biggest deal to them being successful, is he understands the marathon, where last year they ran a race and died in August. So big difference when you get a coach, guys. Coaching means a lot. And Dave Roberts is a shitty coach, but I know he doesn't fucking run the system there. He's told what to do. So I'm all right with that. He's just the face of the Dodgers.
That is accurate. That is facts. That's very funny. But yeah, I think I'll make the over 8 official -105 for me on Bovada. And then, like I said, I think Junis gets touched up a little bit, and anything that Clayton Kershaw gives us, I'm all right with. This is one of those days where I'm like, 8, truthfully, I think the Dodgers alone could get them 8, and like I said, if Kershaw goes out there and struggles again, and struggles in quotation marks, because, obviously he's the best pitcher of our generation, but he's given up 4 earned runs in his last 2 starts. This will be his 3rd start against the Giants. So if he gives us 4 again, great. If he gives us 2, awesome. None obviously would be an issue. But like I said, I have enough faith in the Dodgers offense. They're 5th against righties since the All-Star break again. 121 weighted runs created plus. And to illustrate you guys' point about them struggling against lefties, the Giants, they're 15th, 93 weighted runs created plus against them since the All-Star break. I don't know. I have not looked season long if they're still as high as they were, because season long they were ridiculously high for some reason. And well, not ridiculously high. They were just higher than we all expected. Maybe that's coming down to earth, but they're struggling right now. Saturated, answering your question real quick, why not that team total? Then I have that team total at, let me double check here, at 4.5 -135, at 5 -105. I would rather just have the over, just because, it's 5. I'm like, I can just bet on both teams to score a little bit and not just rely on the Dodgers.
All right.
It's also hot, guys. It is hot in California. That's going to help any type of over you want to be on. And one quick stat that I forgot to read off. Kershaw's got a 1.79 day ERA compared to a 3.51 night. Like, the guy's money during the day going up against the team that ain't hitting. I just think this is a spot. It's just, there's the history, guys, at the end of the day. But I think I can look at that history and say this team was crushing the ball then, and they're not now. So I expect a big day from Kershaw. Just go win for Ben, my guy. At the end of the day, it's our World Series now.
Yeah, that's the other factor, of course, that I would be scared of. Clayton Kershaw, like, he's probably one of the longest tenured Dodgers in history at this point. He's been there forever. I thought the one of the better little Vin stats that I saw on Twitter was he called all of Jackie Robinson's career and then all of Clayton Kershaw's career until 2016. Like that's the kind of stuff where I'm like, damn, man, is Clayton Kershaw just going to go out there, dazzle, put Vin on the back of the mound, and then proceed to throw like 8 shutout? I'd be like, fuck.
Is it a coincidence that Vin Scully called his last game in Giant Stadium where he happened to pass away when the Dodgers were playing in Giant Stadium, bro?
Yeah.
I would not be fucking surprised if a perfect game type shit happens today, bro. Baseball's weird like that.
Yeah, I said the same thing yesterday. I was like, is it a coincidence that his favorite team and the Dodgers playing and then he dies right there? I'm like, I'm not betting against them for sure. And that's kind of how I feel like today. So I'm taking the over in the hopes that we get offense from both sides.
All right, locked in. Jose, let's move on, but stay in Cali. 4:07 p.m. Eastern. Oakland Athletics 40-66. It looks like our big Ragu is well on his way to cash the A's season win total over. LA Angels 44-60, 24-31 at Homeward Angel Stadium in Anaheim, California. We'll start with the weather in Anaheim. 79, 8.5 miles per hour out to right center, goes up to 9.4. Nice offensive weather in Anaheim. Let's move over to the line history in this A's Anaheim spot. Blackburn versus Junk. We have a 10-cent move to the A's. Open up at plus 105, now minus 105. From a total perspective, over 8 at minus 120 now is at minus 110. So a 10-cent move towards the under. And from a cash standpoint, 6,140 tickets in, and it's a coin flip. 47% of the tickets on the A's, 50% of the cash, although the market is moving towards them. And then 40% of tickets on the over and 57% of cash on that over. Paul Blackburn, 4.15 ERA, 1.25 whip on the year. But on the road, he's just been lights out. It's so strange that he's not pitching well in Oakland. He's pitching so well on the road. 5-1, 1.74 ERA, 210 opponents batting average, coming off slowing down or shutting down the White Sox, who don't have power against righties anyways. But 5 innings, 5 hits, no earned runs, 4 Ks. Jansen Junk on the other side. Last start was very good. And the market indicated that they thought he was going to have a great start, and he did. 8 strikeouts, 1 walk, 4-0 win at the Royals. Now he's coming home. And there's a reason why he didn't break with the club, this club that desperately needed starting pitching all year long. I wonder if the glory that he faced will go away here. And I want to hear the breakdowns before I move on it, but I'm leaning towards it. A's versus righties just 213, 614 OPS. Angels versus righties 232, 694 OPS. And I mentioned yesterday, I remember clearly when the best teams in this league this year against righties, Dodgers were number 1 and Angels were number 2. That's how far they've fallen. A's bullpen 4.03 ERA, 1.34 whips, been looking better. Angels bullpen been mediocre all year, 4.06 ERA, 1.24 whip. Let's go. We'll start with Jose Bouquett on this one. A's, Angels. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's tough to say here, but it's really not, because I just set my watch to this bet at this point now. It's just Paul Blackburn on the road, first 5 money line, whatever. It's I'll take it every time. First 5 money line, no problem. Minus 110. I'm glad it's pretty cheap as well. I was kind of surprised. You get a minus 120 for Jansen Jung. If it loses, but I'm not gonna not ride the first 5 god on the road. Not at Oakland, on the road. So Paul Blackburn, first 5. Keep it short and simple for you guys.
Jansen Junk had a good season in Salt Lake, in a tough league, in the PCL league. But he was never a highly thought of prospect. He was a 22nd round draft pick out of Seattle University. But in Salt Lake, 3.88 ERA, 1.15 whip, which means the stuff is legit. Let's hear what Sharpie has to say about this spot. Athletics Angels.
I don't bet on shitty teams, guys. Like, this is one thing I don't do. I don't believe. I know for your show and you guys break down every game. I think if you break down every game, you're going to find advantages in every game. And there's really not advantages in every fucking game. So I attack the pitchers I know best. And these are 2 guys I don't want to fucking bet on. So at the end of the day, dude, it's a straight pass for me. I hate to be a dick like that, but there are 2 teams going in the wrong direction. And when you see a shitty team favored like the Angels, they win 70-80% of the time, bro, at the end of the day. Just start tracking when you see teams like the Pirates favored, teams like the Angels favored. They should never be fucking favored at the end of the day. But I watch lines, and I've been watching lines for a long time. So you better have a good reason to fade a shitty team being favored, guys, because those books ain't dumb at the end of the day. And that's my opinion on this game.
Also, I wonder if Blackburn just doesn't seem to show up at home because it's, there's 5,000 fans there.
Yeah, he wants to pitch in front of people.
But there's going to be 5,000 fans in Angel Stadium today. It's going to be,
at least the facilities are nice.
Nicer.
There might be 10,000. Ohtani should be in the lineup.
I heard actually he's not. I heard forearm cramps.
Oh, fuck, bro.
So
no one's showing up. No one's coming.
Yeah, no, I saw someone sent us a thing. It was like forearm cramps, so Ohtani might be out. So obviously watch your lineups. It's a little early right now to see. But yeah, I heard he might be out of lineup. So another ideal situation for my man, Paul Blackburn.
And Danzo talking about the issues Marino's having right now. Litigation with Tyler Skaggs' family. He's battling with his wife in court, and also that family where the kid got hit in the head.
Question right here. This doesn't sound fishy to you, Jose. Ohtani may not be in the lineup and the Angels are favored.
It's definitely fishy, but I'm going to walk headlong into it. That's why
I love you, bro. I love you.
That's why I was like, it might lose, but Paul Blackburn's been the king of the first five. I'll bring up the record. He's 13-7 this year, up $1,900 if you bet $100 on it every first five. So, yeah, that works out. I'll take it. I'll keep rolling with it. Sharpie, like you said, it's like you just sometimes you'll get caught in the bear trap, sometimes you won't, and hopefully this is not one of those.
I'll walk in the traps with guys named Ohtani, McClanahan, but Blackburn. I fucking love it, bro. Don't get me wrong, bro. I know you're making money, but dude, I just can't bet on shitty pitchers. It's like the worst thing in the history for me.
I understand.
But then we're going to talk about one in a little bit about Freeland, and that pulls a beast on the road too. So it's just weird how certain guys are better on certain places.
I got a -108 here, Jose. What do you have?
Let me double check for us. I got a -110, I believe, but I want to double check and make sure that is accurate. So let me double check.
Let's see here. Also check, see what.
Yeah, -110. I got -110.
Okay, so we'll go with the Circa line. Or sorry, we'll go with the Pinnacle line. And wow, yeah. Oh, no. Here we go. Circa A's first five +102.
What?
There you go. Jose first
That's so
A's.
crazy. Circa. What? Man.
5 +102. All right, there's Telegirl saying it. There's Foxy in the house. Great to see you, Foxy. All right, Jose is locked into the A's first five at +102. I thought that I was going to be moving on this game, but I just don't feel like it's just correlating in the right ways for me at this point. But I imagine that if you take the under and Ohtani's out of the lineup, there's going to be a big market move towards the under. All right, let's keep rolling. Next up, 4:10 p.m. Eastern, and Sharpie gave us a hint of what he was thinking in this game with Kyle Freeland starting on the road. Rockies 46-61, 16-34 on the road at the Padres, 61-46, 31-22 at home at Petco Park in San Diego, California. It was sold out on a Wednesday. We'll see what it is on a Thursday at 1:10 p.m. 78 Fahrenheit. It's warm. God, it's way warmer than usual. Hotter than usual. Must be no or the cold air not coming in off the ocean or whatever, the marine layer. 9 miles per hour left to right in, and then it becomes left to right, just straight left to right. So it's only in really for that first hour. Only in for the first hour. Let's take a look at the line history in this Rockies spot. Freeland versus Musgrove, and no movement towards the Padres with Musgrove on the hill, staying right where it opened, and a 5-cent move to the over. 5-cent move to the over. Let's take a look at where the cash lies here. 11,979 tickets in. Listen to this. 16% of the tickets on the Rockies and 67% of the cash on the Rockies. Huge bets coming in on the Colorado Rockies. 64% of tickets on the over, 91% of cash on the over. So big bets coming in on the Rockies, which has created no market move at all to Musgrove. Wow. And Sharpie talked about Freeland on the road. Freeland on the year, 4.63 ERA, 1.34 whip, but he got the big extension. He's been very good on the road. 3.57 ERA, 235 opponent's batting average, and he's coming off a really nice start at home versus the Dodgers. Shut him down. Quality start, 6 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 6 Ks, no walks. Musgrove coming off a quality start himself in a 7-4 loss at home. Wasn't his fault. He went 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 8 Ks, and 2 walks. 2.65 ERA, 0.99 whip on the season. At home, 3-2, 2.29 ERA, 193 opponent's batting average. Rockies are starting to show a little something against righties. They've had no power against them all year, even in the thin air, but 251 average, 707 OPS. Similar numbers with the Padres versus lefties. And the Padres earlier in the year were smashing lefties. Maybe things will change with Soto in the lineup. Padres bullpen 3.84 ERA, 1.20 whip. Rockies bullpen bad, but the back end very good. You already talked to us about Freeland, so why don't you get us rolling here, Sharpie? Take it away, Rockies, Padres.
Well, in this side, I didn't even bet Freeland, but I do got a bet on Joe motherfucking Musgrove. If you got legal books, he's at 5.5, around that minus 143 at Bet Rivers, I believe, before the show. I had to bet him at 7+ at plus 106. I ain't afraid. Let's fucking talk about the musty man, Musgrove. So at the end of the day, he's averaging 6.5 strikeouts over his last 10 games. If you take out the game where he came back from COVID, it jumps up to 6.9. And now he gets the Rockies at home. His last game versus the Rockies was in Colorado. It was his first ever start in Colorado. And that, to me, is a guy who bet K-Prop says you don't fucking bet guys their first time in Colorado. You need to go see how they pitch. And learning something is way better than losing money. And if you would have bet Musgrove on that day, you would have fucking lost. But you take into the game this year at home, he went 7 innings with 8 strikeouts, and those numbers match up straight to the numbers that he's going up against today. This guy's had 6+ strikeouts, way too many times to count that I'd have to pull out my black book because I didn't write that number down. But the numbers that I did write down was last year. All 3 games at home versus the Rockies. He gave up a total of 3 earned runs in 19.2 innings of work with 11, 6, and 11 strikeouts. This guy owns the fucking Rockies at the end of the day, and I will be on Joe Musgrove in this situation at 7+ strikeouts plus 106. Yes, sir. Please and thank you.
7+ strikeouts for Musgrove at plus 106. Jose, what are you doing here?
Well, I'll start with this. Shout out to George in Vegas, who wakes up really early and tweeted me this, and then he gave me credit for this, and I appreciate him. But this guy, Jared Smith, tweeted out today the record for minus 300 favorites this year, 28-16, but $100 bettors would be down $772, so 7.72 units going that way. Plus 200 money dogs this year, 39-73, up $1,545 this year.
Wow.
So with that and the wins behind my sails of hopefully the Padres looking forward to the Dodgers series, and maybe that fan base not being as raucous today because we were on Rocky's first 5 money line yesterday. And after the ovation at Juan Soto I got, well, I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, oh, there's a bunch of moose monies out there fucking getting pounded with beers. I'm fucked. And that was a fun time. But I'm going to go back to the well here. First 5, and I'm actually going to add the full game as well. Rockies, plus 210, plus 230. Let's fucking go, Kyle Freeland. Come on, man. How about it? One time. He can get those strikeouts, but I very much hope that he struggles here today. It's not minus 300. It's minus 290. So I was truthfully hoping for it to bounce up a little bit just for my confidence sake. But we ride again with the Rockies.
We ride again. Joe Yurkovich, by the way, is on that Angels team total under 4. Fanatical Jim can get Musgrove 7+ at plus 165 at FanDuel. Well, let's give Sharpie that number there.
Fuck around and find out.
Plus 165 right there. Wow. Okay, and let's quickly see if...
I mean, if you can bet the 6, well, he's looking right now, I would take the 6. I'm just giving you the number that I have to bet, but this guy has 6+ strikeouts in 10 of his last 14 games, and I can tell you exactly why on those 4 games, why he didn't have 6. He's not running into that today, in my opinion. So if you can grab the 6, bet it. I have to bet the 7. I'm fine with that. I don't worry. I just give out my bets. I don't just chase lines and give that out. So, I mean, I'll take the extra plus money for the show, but I got plus 106. So I just want to cash my fucking ticket.
I hear you. We can get Jose much better lines over at Pinnacle, man. 242 for the first 5 and 247 for the full game.
Well, you know what Pete says about Pinnacle giving out the best lines.
Yeah, not a good sign. But hey, your average line will go up. All right, Freeland. I would like to, after the analysis from both you guys, I wish that it wasn't as hot as it is down there, and I wish these huge bets weren't coming in on the over, which will keep me off of the under at this point.
I think it's an under spot for sure. I'm actually I'm looking up right now how the Padres have been versus lefties over the last 200 because I'm like, dude, if Freeland has a day, bro, this is so going under in my opinion.
And is that everyone just going to be like, is that going to be the thing now for the next week or so? Is it going to be like, all right, guys, this Padres offense, it's sick. Let's bet the over. Is that going to be the move now for everyone?
Hey, check this out. That's something to take up. When they had Tatis in the lineup, it sure as fuck was like that. So is now Soto that dude that just – this team averaged 4.5 runs last year when they had Tatis in the lineup. Now are they going to be that team again? You can't walk fucking Soto with fucking Machado behind him. This is the first time he ever had somebody behind him, bro. Ever. And I know it takes more than 2 people to hit, but Brandon Drury, I was telling people before the game, that was the biggest signing no one was talking about. He's number 2 in the league to Paul Goldschmidt, hitting 900 plus OPS on breaking balls this year, and the league average is 300. Nobody's talking about that kid right now, bro. They did a lot of shit. I'll give them credit, but it's kind of hard to bet unders with this team the way they loaded it. And it's more of the guys they're not talking about. They're just talking about Soto and them. What about Drury? What about everybody else they've added?
Drury 5 for 10 against Freeland. Soto 154 against Freeland, but Machado hitting 324 and 34 at bats.
Has Soto got any at bats, bro? Because if he's hitting like that, you can't walk Soto. He's going to see fastballs from Freeland. That could be the death of him right there.
Yeah, the funny part about yesterday was, I don't know, I think Chad Kuhl was shitting his pants a little bit in that first inning, and it led him to walking dudes. But it was immediate, 4-pitch walk to Soto, Machado double. It was just clockwork immediate. And I feel like the Rockies manager is going to be all right, guys, we have to pitch to Soto. We have to pitch to Soto. We cannot walk him here. So it'll be interesting to see.
This is the first time in his career they have to pitch to Soto. He's had these numbers with bums like Bell behind him.
Yeah. Hooey. And Dabby's on that team total over 4.5 for the Friars. Wow. I do not like this for me. We just broke down 1, 2, 3. Well, the second half of the double dip. 2, 3, 4, 5 games, and I don't have action yet, which is not going to make my afternoon enjoyable, but I'm not going to force anything and stay calm here. Jose Bouquett, thank you for capping this afternoon action with us. If you want to see Jose's looks on the nighttime games, he may jump in with a play of the day here for us. But if you want to catch his nighttime breakdowns, check him out on Say Hey Plays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Do you have a guest on today's show?
I do. It's actually Dabby Cab, who's been he's been shit talking us through the whole time, but he's been talking to me, actually, I should say. But yeah, Dabby Cab returns. He's back home. He was flying yesterday, I think, but he's coming home, doing the show today. I'm gonna hear all his Vegas tales. I want to hear about how many buttons Dami got down to. Was the whole shirt out at some point? Sure. Was it only half? Those are the details I want to know. How fucked up did Victor get? Because, again, I remind everyone, he calls me right before the show starts and just, doesn't say anything. And then 2 hours into the show, texts me, I don't remember that phone call. Like, I don't remember calling you. And I was like, all right, well, that's interesting. So obviously a lot of good stuff happened in Vegas. We'll cap the rest of the baseball card that these guys are going to do, me and Cab. It'll be a lot of fun. This does seem like a very loaded day for me, I will admit, Jim. And I will say the Say Hey Parlay today, there is a little Jimmy the Bag, Jose Bouquett alliance feel to it today.
I like the sounds of that. Catch Jose and Jose record. Can we have the Say Hey record for everybody to hear? So
sure,
entice them to watch.
They don't. Is the mustache not enticing enough?
It's not.
You've not made one comment on the mustache, by the way. I want to shave it off now because you didn't say a thing. But whatever, Jimmy. It's fine. It's all right. 329 and 325 up 23.77 units. Yesterday, kind of a meh 2-2 day. So we roll on. I actually like today's card, so it'll be a lot of fun. And maybe I'll shave my mustache because Jimmy doesn't like it anymore. So Nestor and Spencer Strider have obviously taken Jimmy's eye and just fuck me right.
All right, let's move on to nighttime action. We go to 7:05 p.m. Eastern. Washington Nationals 36-70, 19-30 on the road at the Philadelphia Phillies, 56-48, 26-25 at home. We're at Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania for the first start from Noah Syndergaard. We will start with the weather. 93 Fahrenheit, feels like 101. 9 miles per hour out to right center. Offensive weather, hot, humid, and the wind blowing out. Let's move over to the line history in this Nats Phillies spot. Espino versus Syndergaard. There has been a 20-cent move to the Washington Nationals, interestingly enough. This total opened up at 8.5 at -120 to the over. It's now at 9, slightly juiced to the under. And we'll move over to the cash flow in this Nats spot. And there are 2 spots on the board with full line value from Sports Insights, and those full line value spots have been losing at quite a big rate of late. And it's the Washington Nationals. 10,289 tickets in. 15% of the tickets and 62% of the cash is being bet on Paulo Espino in the Washington Nationals. Then 51% of tickets, 56% cash on the under. Strange. I imagine that they think Syndergaard could get touched in his first start here with offensive weather, and he throws 99. Espino, 3.78 ERA, or he threw 99. Tries to throw 99 now. 3.78 ERA, 1.25 whip, 50 Ks, 13 walks, and 66 2/3. Has allowed 13 homers. His last start, 4 2/3, 7 hits, 4 runs, 2 homers, 2 Ks, 1 walk, and a 7-6 win at home versus Cardinals. On the road, he's been okay this year. The sample size is small, but 3.38 ERA, 260 opponents, batting average. And Mike M, pimp slap play of the day is the Phillies first 5 -0.5. Phillies first 5 -0.5 from Mike M. I copy and paste that. Syndergaard, his last start was a 7-0 loss at the Royals, but it wasn't on him. He went 5 2/3, 6 hits, 1 earned run, 6 Ks, 2 walks. His final start in an Angel uniform. At home, well, it doesn't matter what he is at home because now we're moving to Philly. Nats versus righties, 247, 693 OPS. We expect that number to drop with Soto and Bell out of the lineup. Phillies versus righties, 244, 710 OPS. Nats bullpen's been okay of late, been pretty good actually. And the Phillies bullpen we thought was turning their season around have slipped up of late. Take it away here, Sharpie, Nats, Phillies.
I mean, I got no action on this game, but I totally understand all the money coming in on Washington. By my numbers, and like I said, I run stuff back at least 2 weeks or 200 plate appearances, whatever. 2 weeks is the minimum, though. So usually on a righty, you'll get a lot more than 200 plate appearances. But with lefties, sometimes you got to take it back up to a month. And that's the farthest I'll take it back for how I like to cap. But by the numbers, they're the same exact fucking team hitting right-handed pitchers over their last 15 days. And like you just said, the better bullpen is that fucking Washington Nationals. So, yeah, I get all the money that has came in on the Washington Nationals. Everything to me tells me it's a Washington Nationals spot. Me in this situation and what I do on my show, and we attack the fuck out of Noah Syndergaard. If you think anybody's going to get a hit, play their stolen base prop. He is the worst in the league, and I know everybody knows that, but I got a stat for you for this. He's allowed more stolen bases over the last 2 seasons than any team combined. Combining all their pitchers, this motherfuckers is that dude, bro. So you don't want to take guys at that plus 200-300. This is where you take 4 or 5 guys plus 7 to 2,000 and you just wax them, bro. Like last week we had a plus 18 and a 2,000 on them. Like, oh yeah, guys, it's all about picking guys that don't have stolen bases because guess what? Jesus Aguilar got his first stolen base off of this guy. If you're fat, if you don't run, if you're out of shape, you get on base, you're fucking going, bro. At the end of the day, it's a time to pick on Noah. You do have to get on base, though.
I wonder how to back the Nats then. Their team totals at 3.5. It's juiced to the under. I wonder what Pinnacle has. You have to go full game because of the bullpen advantage, even though the Phillies do have a lineup advantage, but not by that much, really. The Phillies lineup without Harper. The team total is plus 104 at 3.5 over at Pinnacle. I don't know what to do with all the sharp money on the Nats. I don't know how to. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and hum and haw. I'm just going to put a Nats.
I'm just looking more and more at these numbers, and the Nats they have way better power numbers over the last 2 weeks versus righties. At the end of the day, they're crushing the ball for power. They're not hitting for average. And in 90-something the weather degree and the wind blowing out, I get it.
Do we think Espino can hold down this Phillies lineup enough? Look at that lineup. It's ugly, man. Schwarber, Hoskins, Bohm, Realmuto, Castellanos, Hall, Stott, Marsh, Gregorius expected. That's ugly. You still have power.
A lot of boomer bust right there, and in that weather, it's scary. I mean, Schwarber's swinging for the fences. He's either hit or miss. He's either going to take the dude yard or strike the fuck out. Baum's been really hot. He's probably their hottest batter since the All-Star break. And Castellanos been dead, dude. Like, I don't get it. They paid this guy a lot of fucking money, man. And I'm not a big fan of their lineup either, though. No, I think Didi is due back today, is he not?
Yeah, I believe Gregorius is expected. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna need to sit with this here, and I won't do it here with you guys and put you to sleep. But I can understand the look on the Nats. I just don't know how to get in myself. But I imagine that the full game would be the way to do it, and I'm not going to turn a dog into a favorite. So I'm going to need more time here. All right, let's move on to 7:10 p.m. Eastern. Atlanta Braves 63-42, 26-20 on the road at the New York Mets, 66-38, 31-17 at home at Citi Field in Queens, New York. Let's see what the weather is like in New York. 85 Fahrenheit, feels like 92, 11.9 miles per hour to right center. Dies down to 8.8, but offensive weather at Citi. Take a look at the line history over at Citi Field in New York. Carrasco going up against right. No movement. Mets open up minus 120. That's where they stand. This total opened up over 8, minus 120. That's where it stands. So no movement of any kind. 7,628 tickets in. 50% of tickets, 66% of cash on the Braves, but it's not moving in their direction. 49% of tickets on the under, 61% cash on the under. Kyle Wright has been very good on the road this year. 4-2, 2.72 ERA, 2.45 opponent's batting average. Been good everywhere. 2.93 ERA, 1.15 whip on the year. Coming off a 5-2 win at home versus Arizona, 6 2/3, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 homer, 5 Ks, 2 walks. Cookie Carrasco had a really good season. 11-4, 3.79 ERA, 1.31 whip. Been very good at home. They can get to him, but they don't seem to have big power numbers against them. 6-1, 3.30 ERA, 2.69 opponent's batting average. He's coming off a beautiful start in Miami. 7 2/3, no earned runs, 7 Ks, 2 walks. Both teams have a 744 OPS versus righties. The Mets have a slightly better batting average against them. And both bullpens are very strong. This could be a preview of playoff baseball. Sharpie, take it away. Braves, Mets.
This right here, and I've got both these guys broke down for my shows K-prop wise, is we're getting the cookie man, Carlos Carrasco, who's been a fucking beast lately over the last 6 games. The dude's been pretty fucking hot, allowing over the last 5 straight games, going 5+ innings with only allowing 3 earned runs combined over his last 5 games. So the cookie man has been bet on. The only thing to me is he's running into the hottest team by the numbers that he's faced all fucking year. These Braves are striking out a fuck ton, 27%, but they're hitting 247, 760 with an ISO of 203, guys. Like, That is absurd. Austin Riley isn't missing anything. And I was on Wheeler's K-Prop yesterday, guys. And this guy, bro, isn't missing anything. You hang anything over the plate, you're going to get fucking smacked. This guy's hot right now. So it's hard for me to look to back Carlos Carrasco. Even though he did deal versus this team earlier this year, 8 innings, 0 earned runs with 5 strikeouts, but they weren't hitting back then. They had a 227 average and a 682 OPS. So he's just running into a night train, and I don't want nothing to do with it. I get it. Good pitching beats good hitting, and he has been good. So I can't hate it if you are backing him today. And then on the other hand, Kyle Wright's 10 out of his last 12 games, he's gone 6+ innings, with 9 of them being quality starts. So the kid's a beast. He was drafted in the top 10 for a fucking reason. He has poise for days. Comes out of Vanderbilt. We all know what Vanderbilt produces. Pitching factory fucking for days. And it does help that he throws 97+. So at the end of the day, this kid's got poise for days and some plus shit. But when I run up the numbers from when he played them in 5-3 to today, he's going up against a team that's stroking the ball too. And he had a good game versus them back then, but now it's like, okay, can you reproduce it versus a team now hitting 290, 817 OPS and an ISO of 191 when their ISO was a 103 and a 772 the last time you seen them. So they've jumped up some. They're crushing the ball. It's a battle of 2 good pitchers that are good and 2 teams that are hitting. Like at the end of the day, good pitching beats good hitting, as our friend Nolan would say. So I gotta expect this is an undertime game. This is, even though the bats have been hot, I gotta expect these pitchers to keep doing what they've been doing.
Sharpie, your audio messed up for a second there at the very end. Can you give me a sound check? Oh, he's gonna be coming back in here for a second. Fuck, man. I know you've been watching and saying, fuck, I'm being very hesitant. And I think that happens when I'm on this run that I'm on 26-10 plus 15.84 units in the second.
It does happen. That is accurate.
Yeah. And so my thought here is this is just a fucking coin flip in real gambling. I would like to back Kyle Wright in the Braves here, but Carrasco is just pitching really, really well right now. Sharpie, can we hear you? You good?
Check.
Yeah, your money. It was just the last few seconds, so we caught everything there.
No, that's what happens when I run this off my phone. After like an hour on StreamYard, it gets so hot I have to go in and out real quick.
Oh, it's all good.
I think this is an under spot, bro. Like, how can you pick a pitcher in a bullpen when they've both been good? When both pitchers and you're struggling on which pitcher, that to me says under all day.
I agree, but the weather is just so offensive, and I guess when it comes down to it, and I shouldn't say this, but I don't really trust Carrasco. I don't really trust him, but why would I say that? He's been so good this year. It's just, I guess that's a vividness.
I say the same thing. I say the same fucking thing, bro, and he just goes out and deals.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not. I'm gonna hold off here. I just feel like I'd be making a move just to make a move. I guess when it comes down to it, I mean, if I find it that even, one bet has no vig and the other is minus 120, which makes Kyle Wright and the Braves' first 5 seem a little more appealing. Let me just pop up Carrasco's last 5 starts here and just see, because that was a great start against the Marlins team that just does nothing with the sticks.
I've got Carrasco in my book, bro, so let's get straight to him, bro. He's right in the 30s. Here we go. His last 5 games have been versus Miami. He went well. San Diego, good game. 5 innings, 6 hits, 0 earned runs. Cubs, not really hitting. 6 innings, 5 hits, 0 earned runs.
Wow.
Miami again, they're not hitting. He ran into a Texas team who was hitting, and he handled them too. So Texas was hitting 261 with a 772 and a 197 ISO, and those numbers are pretty fucking close to what the Braves are now.
Carrasco hasn't allowed a run in 3 straight starts. Jeez.
3 earned run over his last 5, bro. The guy's been money.
Wow. And then when we go to batter versus pitcher against Carrasco, these guys have good numbers. Cunha, 333, Matt Olson, 625, Rosario 353. But there's been times when he's been very vulnerable. This is not one of those times. I agree with you that it sort of is moving towards feeling like both pitchers will pitch well and that the under is in play regardless of how offensive the weather is. It's just with these big bats in the lineup, one fucking shot. I mean, the 4.5 at -120 is appealing. How could it not be?
At 4.5, I think you just need one pitcher to be on. And there's a chance of both.
And then Johnny Gunn says, I think the full game under is the move. Yeah, I mean, I get it because you can trust both. You can trust both.
I like either play under. I know the weather says over, but it's like the full game takes in the fact of what if there is that one bad inning before he settles down. And there's always the fact of a pitcher having one bad inning. It can fucking happen. And then he goes out there and shoots 6 good innings. And they're both good bullpens. So I would lean to the full game. But dude, that 4.5 just seems love to me right there. Like, I think I'm going to have to get up on that. Like, split it up full game, first 5 on the unders.
Yeah. And again, there's been no move. Oh, there was a bit of movement. Where was the movement? So it's back to where it started. The first move was towards the under. I like seeing that. The first guy, the under became -110. Then over money came in. I like seeing that first move to the under. Let me just refresh the weather, see if we get anything changed here. And the weather does die down. You know, you're right. Maybe it's best to take the full game. It starts off at 11.8. It's actually stronger since I refreshed it. 11.8 miles per hour out to left center, dying down in just 9.4. Fuck. Okay. I'm going to have to sit with this, and I know I've been saying that a lot, but it's fucking stakes are fucking high, man. All right. Joe Yurkovich locked in the Phillies' first 3 -0.5 at -105. So he's expecting Thur to look good early. All right, let's roll on. 7:10 p.m. Eastern. Houston Astros 68-38, 34-21 at Cleveland Guardians, 54-50, 27-20 on Progressive Field in Cleveland, Ohio. We will go to the weather in Cleveland, and it is possible light rain and rain. Wow, possible light rain and rain. Let's see, is this doesn't say a weather delay here. Let's see if RotoWire has any feeling like this could be a weather delay. No, but they have 36% chance of rain at first pitch. So an issue with weather in Cleveland. They have 25%, between 21 and 25% precipitation throughout the game. 5.2 miles per hour to right center, 5.7 miles per hour, and 6.9. So it gets a little stronger throughout the game. Verlander going up against Plesac. Take a look at the line history in this one. And here we go. We have a 10-cent move to the Guardians. 10-cent move to the Guardians. And from a total perspective, it opened up at 7.5, juice to the under. It's now 8, juice to the over. Maybe Capper's thinking that there's a chance that Verlander could start and not finish because of rain issues. 14-3 is Verlander, 1.81 ERA, 0.87 whip. Let's see what the cash says. Oh, and this is it. So here we go. We talked about the Nationals being the first team with full line value in Sports Insights. And at this point, there's 15% of the tickets and 65% of the cash on the Nationals. Then in this one, Cleveland is the other team. There's no team with half line value, but there's 2 teams with full line value. And that's the Guardians. And then that's the Guardians, 11,159 tickets in, 21% of tickets, 54% of the cash. Then 29% of tickets, 65% of the cash on that under. Damn. Joe Yurkovich isn't scared. He's on the Astros -1. By the way, Coin says Atlanta, New York Mets is an under 8, -105 feel to it. Playoff baseball in August. Wow. Okay, so Verlander's last start, I mean, he's been facing the Mariners so often this year, and he looked very good in his last start. It was at home, went 7 2/3, allowed just 1 earned run, 5 Ks and 1 walk. On the road, he's been better than he's been at home this year. On the road, 7-2, 1.72 ERA, 152 opponent's batting average. And Plesac has been so good at home this year. At home, 1-2, 3.02 ERA, 269 opponent's batting average. Coming off a 6-4 loss at Tampa where he didn't look good. He just struggles on the road. 5 earned runs in 5 innings. Astros hitting 240, 738 OPS versus righties. Guardians 263, 734 OPS. The Guardians bullpen's been stepping up and looking very good of late. They hit a bump in the middle of the year, but they're coming on now, and the Astros bullpen being the best all season long. Joe Yurkovich says Astros 15-4 in Verlander starts. Let's see what Sharpie has to say. Astros, Guardians.
This right here, man, I love when I get guys that are in my book, because then I can just it's a blueprint. Baseball gives us blueprints, guys, at the end of the day. And I've got a fucking blueprint on Justin Verlander. And when he's in this situation, yes, his strikeouts go down, but he still dominates, guys. At the end of the day, he's going up against one of the better teams in baseball that do make contact. The Cleveland Guardians do make a lot of contact. Over the last 200 plate appearances, they don't strike out 17.6%. Once again, the contact thing. They are only walking 6% of the time with a 281 average, 761 OPS, and an ISO of only of a 148. So, yes, their average and OPS says yeah, but their ISO is that's where their home runs and runs get added into it. So they haven't really been scoring that many runs. Yes, they've been getting on base. Okay, let's go look at these teams that have the same fucking strikeout percentage, crushing the fucking baseball and not walking. And who's Verlander gone up against? 2 different times. He went up against the Washington Nationals. He only went 5 innings that game, but he gave up 0 earned runs with 5 strikeouts. Then I go in through it again, and I see another game. It's the Yankees. They were only striking out 18.2%, hitting 260 average, a team 900 OPS. And he went out there and fucking dealt. What did he do that day? 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run. So when he gets put in this situation, he does fucking well. The strikeouts aren't always there. That's fine. We're not here to bet strikeouts. I am going to be on the under 1.5 team total of the Cleveland Guardians first 5. This guy hasn't given up more than 1 run in this situation when I run through my book. So minus 135 is where I had to bet it. I'm sure there's better juice out there, but is what it is. I think he goes out and deals, and I'm not a big fan of fucking nutsack or plesack, whatever you like to call him, but I call him nutsack on my show.
Oh, nutsack. Yeah, we can get you that team total under 1.5 at minus 116. That is the Guardians. That's available at Pinnacle. Guardians. Sorry, Sharpie.
And Verlander seeing the team for a first time. Oh, yeah. Gimme.
Team total under 1.5 at minus 116. By the way, I went to the Cleveland weather report, and it's raining, light rain and showers right now, but they make it sound like the rain's going to come after the game. BJ says, facts, Sharpie. Plesac sucks. Browns Hughes asks you but give me a second, but just to set you up, he's going to ask if you could briefly explain ISO that you are referring to. Matty Ice is talking about Verlander's record at Progressive Field. There were times when this Guardians offense was a real scary offense to play against. And now, look at what their offense is now, because what they've done is, if you can get through that Rosario Ramirez nailer, then it's very comforting. Jimenez, Gonzalez, Jones, Hedges, Straw. It's just getting through Ramirez and Naylor. If Verlander knows that going in, let's go to batter versus pitcher, because I was very close to moving on this game. Let's move over to batter versus pitcher here. Only Jose Ramirez has seen Verlander. That's not a good thing for these Cleveland batters. But Ramirez hits him 2 home runs, batting .367. And Verlander knows that. He knows there's one guy over there that's going to hurt him. And then these Astros have good numbers against Plesac. But I'm telling you, at home, he's a different pitcher. Don't forget, Plesac lied to this team in that COVID year, lied to their faces, and they didn't cut him. They didn't trade him away. He's become a bigger piece of the puzzle. We know that the Guardians brass has always been exceptional with what they've done with this tiny payroll. And the fact that they trust Plesac, I've always been a little higher on Plesac than others. Lip Pick says Plesac gets smashed. I don't think he does here at home.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. I call him nutsack because I bet strikeout props. Like, the guy is a decent pitcher. Like, I'm not gonna say he's ass, and he comes from a fucking pitching background. His dad was a beast too, bro. Like, he's got it in his blood. The guy is a beast. And Cleveland, they know what they're doing with their pitchers, like you just said, with their small ass bankroll. And ISO real quick. real quickly, you're taking singles, doubles, triples, home runs, and we're bringing up their average. Their average is 281, but their ISO of Cleveland is 148. So a lot of their bats are singles. You're taking in singles, doubles, triples, and home runs, and they're giving you points for each one. And now you're going to be able to explain that average to you a little bit better. Like, okay, these guys really ain't doing nothing. They're hitting the fucking ball for a bunch of fucking singles, that tells me. So 140 is average, 170 is great. And when you see teams in the 200s, you're just like, holy motherfuck of God.
And Matty, I said, with that said, I'm on Houston first 5. Okay. Look, I like that. Joe Yervin saying, please at night 0-4, 5.40 ERA. Again, I would like to see which starts those were. I mean, certainly look at his last start. He had back-to-back starts against the Twins at the end of June, and he allowed 1 earned run over 12 innings. And we know what the Twins bats are capable of. I digress. I think that he's capable of having an okay start here. And when we go to the cash flow here, 65% of tickets are on the under. We know that rain's not going to be too bad. And makes me want to move on the first 5 under, which correlates with Sharpie's look on the Guardians team total under. I just want to see what that would be for me. Are they going to possibly offer? No, they're not offering me. It's 4 at even money. If Pinnacle's offering a nice price on the 4.5, they are minus 123.
Well, both of these bullpens are top 10 over the last 30 days too. Like they've been elite. Houston's been elite all year.
My fear is, and I think you're right, it means that I should move on the under 8. But my fear is, what if Houston's up 5-0? Then who comes out of the Guardians bullpen? That's my only fear, is that
is legit things to take into your capping, and not everybody does, bro. So like, yeah, that's legit shit. That's shit I was talking with Noli about yesterday. Is in the Milwaukee game, they're like, we were talking about, like, yeah, but who's really going to be coming out? You got to take that into effect.
And that would, even though you're absolutely right with, if it's a close game, maybe this is a live betting situation, because you're absolutely right. These bullpens, we know what the Astros bullpen has done all year, but this Guardians bullpen's been really good lately. Okay, I'm leaning towards the first 5 under 4. Let's go back to that weather just quickly here. And not too hot, not too much wind. Okay, I'm leaning to a first 5 under 4, and I expect to move on. It correlates with Sharpie's Guardians team total under 1.5 look. Okay, we move on. Our guy Dom Play has been wanting to talk about this Rays-Tigers game, so let's go. 7:10 p.m. Eastern, Tampa Bay Rays 55-49, 22-28 on the road at the Detroit Tigers 42-64, 25-27 at home. BJ asking if Kleist is available. I have to double check, but I'm not going to take the full game. The possibility of it being 4-0 or 5-0 or 4, or the Astros being up front is too legitimate. And I've had, and this is a vividness thing, I've had the Guardians on a full game under where they were losing and their big pieces of bullpen did not come out, and I lost, by a run, and it was like, it drove me crazy. So much love, Viper, heading into a meeting. Thank you for rolling with us, Viper. And Browns Hughes saying he is available. Joe Yerkin saying Astros 65-38 to the under on the season, and that's something that Noli has been talking about so much as well. Jeffrey Springs going up against Drew Hutchinson. Jeffrey Springs, I was on him last start, and man, speaking of Noli and Noli's belief and trust in Bieber, Noli was right, and it's too bad that they got that, because Noli was also on no-run first inning. They got 1 run in the first inning, and then nothing for a few innings in a row, and Noli cashed the full game under, but not the no-run first inning. Jeffrey Springs, 5 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 homer, 5 Ks, 1 walk in a 4-1 loss at home versus Cleveland. He didn't look great, but he's been great all year. 2.70 ERA, 1.12 WHIP, going up against Drew Hutchinson, and he's been so good. And one of the things we talked about yesterday is we weren't going to back Singer, even though Singer had a good start. We weren't going to back Singer because Singer had just had this start of his career against the Yankees. And then, sure enough, White Sox beat the Royals 4-1. And I wasn't on the White Sox because I couldn't trust Lance Lynn. That was my mistake. But Drew Hutchinson had a very important start to him at Toronto, a team that gave him away for nothing, DFA'd him. He went 5 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 3 Ks, 3 walks. It was a 5-3 loss, but he was excellent. And he's not been very good at home this year. And I wonder if he put a little too much into that start or care or whatever it is and won't quite have it here. Rays versus righties, 234, 679 OPS. Tigers versus righties, a league low, 212, 585 OPS. Both bullpens, very good. Let's take a look at the weather. First off, at Comerica. Where is it? Here we go. Possible light rain to start. Humid, mostly cloudy. 83 feels like 88. 7.4 miles per hour, right to left. When it gets to the end of the game, it's straight in at 5.8 miles per hour. Take a look at the line history in this Tigers-Rays spot. Springs, Hutchison. We have a 5-cent move to the Rays. Just a 5-cent move. And the total of 5-cent move to the over. And cash-wise, slight line value to the Rays, 20%, maybe less, maybe 15% line value. 88%, I think it's 95% of the cash on the Rays. That's a ton of cash on the Rays, and the book's not blinking and not changing the line. And the first move was towards the Tigers. Interesting. Then 43% of tickets and 83% of cash on the over. God, I can't wait to hear your thoughts on these two pitchers. Take it away, Sharpie. Springs, Hutchison, Rays, Tigers.
Did you bring up Springs as a righty? Because I thought you brought up the Tigers numbers versus righties.
Oh, I did. That was a mistake. Thank you.
Because my shit says they gonna whoop the dog shit out of this guy today because they've been hitting lefties, bro. That's one thing this team does do is they hit lefties. So I get why people were putting money on Detroit. I just can't bet fucking Hutchinson myself. So I did take Detroit's team total over 1.5. Got it at a -120. I was leaning towards the +0.5 or the money line first 5 because I expect this Detroit to crush them, guys. Like on my show, we talk props and Jose and Baez and everybody else on this team just hits lefties a whole lot fucking better, bro. So this team, they are hitting at an absurd fucking rate. So they got to Manaea a couple weeks ago. They've got to quite a few lefties, bro. They even got to Manoa out in Detroit, guys. I mean, up in Toronto. They hit fucking lefties. So I expect it to keep going. This team just really good power numbers off of lefties, and 1.5 to me is just a walk and a yopper. So give me their team total, please. Thank you.
Tigers first 5 team total. Very interesting look here from Sharpie. Let's see what we can find them. Tigers first 5 is 1.5 at just -113. Wow. Tigers first 5 -1. Oh, sorry. First 5 team total over 1.5. Mike, I'm liking that look. Joe Yurkovich says good weather for hitting. I mean, it's humid, but the wind's not going to help. And we have money coming in on the over. And I really think that Hutchinson maybe – it's one of those things he cared so much about that start in Toronto. I wonder if –
Hey, but Tampa Bay's not hitting righties. So that's why I was leaning Detroit first 5 at first, and eventually I just didn't want to trust Hutchinson. But when I look at their numbers versus lefties, Detroit, they're batting .274 with a .770 OPS as a team over their last 200 plate appearances versus lefties. So I don't know. This team to me is just a fade versus righties, and you look to back them versus lefties. They're the same exact team as last year. Just took them a while to get the hitting lefties to like they were last year. Last year they were money versus lefties, and all their hitters are starting to come back around again. Jose was ass until June. he's now their best hitter on their team, and this dude eats lefties for breakfast. So a lot of their guys they just hit lefties, and it's gone back over this season.
Joe Yurkovich, what site are you using for weather? Because the two sites I have are nowhere near those numbers. And the one that I've been trusting this year, Swish, it's not blowing out at all. RotoWire says it's blowing out 8 miles per hour at first pitch, but I'm going to trust Swish here. So I'd be very curious to see what site you're using so I can pull it up. Because that's not, and I just refreshed Swish as well. And you know what? Let's just go to the Detroit weather as well, just to see if, God, I know this stuff is so important. Detroit weather. Yeah, there's without it, it ends up at the end of the game, the wind's going to be 4 miles per hour. It starts at 8, regardless of direction. Drew Hutchinson has earned his way back into the majors, and I love that shit. I love that shit so much. But I'm concerned about. I mean, he only went 5 innings. I'm just a little concerned about that start that meant so much to him. But maybe it just added to his confidence because this guy was out of a job. If we look at his last few starts, he got touched by both the Guardians and the Padres. Pitched great against the Jays when it meant so much to him. We know what the Padres and Guardians bats are like. They're much stronger than the Rays. God. What's Joe saying? He's saying use ballpark app. Okay, I'm just telling you the weather report and the two sites I use are, but trust what site is bringing you bank. Okay, I guess I'm going to need to sit with this for longer and not just sit here and do all the work. Put you guys to sleep with it. Pimp Slot play today's Detroit first 5 plus a half. There's so many interesting factors. There you have a Tigers team that gets the lefties against a good lefty in Springs. You have a Rays team that doesn't hit righties against a pitcher who's earned his way back into the league, but he's got a 4.97 ERA, 280 opponents batting average at home. Lee Davis has the wind blowing in, or blowing, I guess it means out to right, because he's got 2 right at 8 miles per hour.
Tampa Bay's looking 230 with a 650 OPS versus righties. Like, this sets up to Hutchinson Day for me. It's just, Hutchinson.
I kind of like these guys that fucking earn their way back into the league. What would you get? Let's just see what I would get on the Tigers first 5. Plus 155. Let's see what Pinnacle is offering for the Tigers first 5. Another thing is if we expect a low scoring action. Shit, sorry, I can't. Here we go. If I went here, Tigers first 5 is plus 159. Not a big difference there. What would I get first 5 plus a half? If the total's at 4, which implies low volatility, the first 5 plus a half is minus 115. So I do turn it into a favorite. In from right. Yeah. No, that Lee Davis, that's what I have too. In from right. It's not blowing out at all on mine. Okay, I'm going to do something here. I know that's what I think it's going to be Tigers first 5. I think it's going to be Tigers first 5. But I think that Springs will be able to hold. Could you hit me with your late? Like, what have the Tigers done versus lefties in the sample size of somewhat recent? Do you have something in front of you, Sharpie?
I just switched it over to righties real quick. But when I read off the lefties, their last 200 plate appearances, I believe they were hitting like 270 with like almost an 800 OPS, like as a team. And I had to take it back like 3.5, 4 weeks to get 200 plate appearances. And that's about normal. Usually you don't have to go past a month. You don't see a lot of lefties, but the last 2 lefties they faced were Manaea and Manoah, and they've got 4+ off of each. So, I mean, they've just been hot versus lefties.
I'm going to take the Tigers first 5. I will decide whether it be, and I can't trust Springs to hold down this Tigers team. I initially was going to say that with that 2.70 ERA, 1.12, but he's allowed 11 home runs and 73 in the third, and he just allowed 3 earned runs in 5 innings against a Guardians team that doesn't hit lefties at all. And Joe, you're saying Springs has not been great lately. Yeah, it's going to be just Detroit first 5, whether it's plus half or not. I will figure it out. Joe Yurkovich getting 5.33 runs a game at home versus lefties. Mark Tequila, I would prefer to focus on beating up on that Cubs bullpen. But my initial feel, and the reason why I'm not on the game was that I thought that the starting pitchers were going to pitch well. So I'm not on either of those. But if there's one vulnerability, the biggest vulnerability would be the Cubs bullpen, which would mean that the full game would probably entice me a little more than the first 5. Okay, that was great. Sorry we took so long, but we have Sharpie on the Tigers' first 5. Team total over 1.5. Pimp slot play of the day is Detroit first 5 plus a half. I may be on that as well. And Saturated says, shocker, Jimmy takes Detroit first 5. Okay. No, I did that too much. Okay, let's move on. 7:40 p.m. Eastern. We have already heard from our guy, Dabby Cab, who is moving on the Jays' first 5. Blue Jays, Minnesota Twins, Target Field, Minneapolis, Minnesota. This is a very interesting pitching matchup. Alek Manoah up against Sonny Gray. Manoah's last start was not very good. And we've been seeing a little more of that of late. And we had Jose talk about these pitchers who are putting in a lot of innings. And Manoah has always made it sound like he could pitch every second day, But, he's 126 innings in, and he let the Tigers, who are the worst in the league against righties, touch him up. 5 1/3, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 homer, 4 Ks, 1 walk in a 4-2 loss. At home, he has been better on the road than he's been at home. 5-3, 2.37 ERA on the road, 229 opponent's batting average. Going up against Sonny Gray, 6-3, 3. And there's the big Ragu coming to us from Vegas. He's on the K prop for Blackburn. Over 4.5 Ks at -108. The big Ragu in the house. Sonny Gray coming off a nice start. 5 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run. It was a solo shot, 5 Ks, 1 walk, and a 7-4 win at the Padres. He got touched up, I believe, 3 starts ago. And I don't have this in front of me, but I believe his last 2 starts, he allowed 1 run in each. At home, he struggled a little more than he has been on the road. At home, 2-1, 3.96 ERA, 257 opponent's batting average. Both teams hit righties well, and both teams' bullpens are mediocre at best. Let's move over to the weather here in Minnesota. 86 Fahrenheit, 5.6 miles per hour, right to left, but in, and it moves to 7.6, and then by the last hour of the game, it's pretty much straight right to left and not in. Move over to the line history here in this Jays Twinkies spot. We have a move. The initial move was towards the Twins, but it's come back. So there's been a 5-cent move to the Jays since the opening. And from a total perspective, it opened up at 7.5 -120 to the over. It's now 8 -120 to the over. And we'll see what the cash has to say about this. And the cash is telling us 7,868 tickets in. 79% of tickets, 91% of cash on the Jays. And the market, showing no fear with all that money on the Jays. And then 47% of tickets, 57% of cash on the under, and it's moved up a half run. Bo Jackson says, why is the Jays line so low? Maybe Sharpie can help illuminate this spot. Take it away, Sharpie. Jays, Twins.
I don't get why the Jays line's so low, because when I look at it, I'm going to tell you Alek Manoah, when he gives up fucking a couple runs, is a fucking beast the next motherfucking day. So 11 of his last 13 games, he's gone 6+ innings, and he hasn't seen this team all year. But the end of the day, I look towards running his K prop. I have to see lineups. The dude doesn't strike out lefties, so I always am a lineup type. But he's given up 3 earned runs or more 3 times this year with a bounce back every time. 19.1 innings with 3 earned runs combined in the next game coming back off of giving up 3 earned runs or more. This guy has always been bounced back off once he comes off of a beating, and now he gets a team by the numbers. They're walking 6% of the time, striking out 23% of the time, 255 average, 707 OPS, and an ISO of 140. So pretty much they're an average team hitting right now. There's nothing to be afraid about. And this guy hasn't seen them all year, and I expect him to come do what he's done after he gets hit, and that's shut down another team. And then when I dig through Sonny Gray, this motherfucker, guys, he's going to be going up against the toughest team he's faced all year. So he did just handle the Padres, 5 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, and that was his toughest team up to date by the numbers. And now he's got another team who's crushing the fucking ball, guys. They're hitting 287 with a 777 OPS, but their ISO is just a 140. So there's just a whole bunch of singles in there. Not a lot of doubles and home runs, guys. So Sonny Gray has been good at the end of the day. Last 2 games, solid. 2 games before that, shit. Other than that, he was giving up 3 earned runs or less pretty much all the way throughout his box score. So other than a 2-game period throughout this year, he was shit. Other than that, he's been bet on. So I expect a really good pitching duel today, even though the Toronto bats are better. I just still, it's hard to trust that Toronto fucking bullpen.
Very hard. Yeah, strong breakdown there. And the total going from 7.5 to 8 makes me uncomfortable. 47% tickets, 57% cash on the under. So why would it go from 7.5 to 8? Why would they make the under more appealing? I love that stat on Manoah after giving up 3 runs plus. That's a great stat. I didn't know.
I've actually bet on him after beatdowns before up until this point. You know, I just haven't figured if I wanted it yet or not. But I mean, he's been money the next game after giving up 3 earned runs.
Stella Girl saying the Toronto bullpen being one of the top pens in MLB since the All-Star break. They have been. And I have a vividness issue where I just don't fucking buy it. But they have been. XCal360 says, I want to take the Twins run line, but scary. Jack Rosenblatt on the Jays money line. And so nice to imagine Dommy Gun Ricci and Big Ragu having breakfast together in Vegas. Just makes me think that everything is all right in the world. Jack Rosenblatt says, I'll take that. I like that take on Manoah. So do I. I just don't understand why it's gone from 7.5 to 8. And my concern, I love also that this is the toughest lineup that Sonny Gray has faced. That makes me in the end want to take the Jays' first 5 and at minus 125. That's not expensive for Manoah. It's not. And maybe that's just where it ends up here for me. Liking the stat of Manoah bouncing back. And I was hard on Manoah when I went over his last few games. I mean, I don't know why I was a 1 earned run in that first start after the All-Star break. And there wasn't much of a break for him. He had 3 punchies, as you remember, in 1 inning. And then the 1 run allowed in 7 innings against Kansas City. I don't know why I've been feeling this way about Manoah. I guess it was just that Tiger spot.
Well, like I mentioned to you earlier, Jim, this is the first half of the Say Hey parlay.
Ooh, all right.
Say Hey parlay. I'm taking full game because I do believe in the bullpen. My first question, I don't dive deep into bullpen usage all that much. Jimmy, have you seen Zach Popper, the Bassmaster, yet?
Well, the Bassmaster was once a Blue Jay.
Well, have you seen him pitch so far for your team yet? Is basically what I'm saying. Is he available today? Because, I could see the bullpen, going out there and starting their stuff. It might not be a Micah Givens 5 earned runs in the last inning of a game, but I think that the bullpen might be a little better than we have remembered it. And my guess is hopefully it is, because I still hope that the Blue Jays are my 4th team in this foursome that I've got with the 2 teams, the NL, 2 team in the AL. But yeah, I believe in their bullpen a little bit.
Yeah, they're both available.
So there you go. I like I said, I like Manoah today. I think this will be a fun matchup if it goes there in the playoffs. I have to remind everyone, and I have to remind myself, that the playoff matchups this year are a lot different. Everything and all that stuff is a lot different. So when I made my Braves future yesterday, I also, after I made it, I was like, the playoffs are different this year, So I did a quick little Google search, and I looked and I saw that if season ended today, I believe it would be Braves, Padres, round 1, 3 games in Truist Park.
Isn't that wild that the higher seed gets all 3 games if it goes that far, but all the games in their park?
Yeah, that is a little crazy. I expect the 2 out of 3, but that's the advantage of being the higher seed. So it's going to be a fucking grind. Obviously it's only if the season ends today, and if the Padres end up getting home field advantage in the wild card round, watch out. But yeah, just reminder of that stuff too. But I just wanted to come in and say that I like your Blue Jays today as well.
Well, Don Mack, God, I love this. Has been a really quality show. And sometimes when the show is really high quality with all the different stats being dropped by both the guest and the chat, I shouldn't be upset that my quantity of action is low, because this isn't fucking easy. This is hard. And that's why 1% of accounts offshore are in the black overall. Bo Jackson says, I don't like to fade Manoah. Don Mack says Jays pen has a bottom 10 xFIP in the same span as their ERA is second in the league. So I'm gonna go. I'll take the Jays minus 125 first 5 and focus on the Manoah bounce back here. Don play, I'm not comfortable with that spot because I didn't bet it. So I don't want to vouch for a spot that I didn't bet. None of us moved on that game 1 of the double dip. But I can tell you that Cabby's on St. Louis first 5 minus a half at plus 110. But I do not, the stakes are fucking high. This isn't just fucking willy-nilly. I lean there or something like that. It's real fucking money and changing our lives and all that shit. So I can't just vouch for something right there, and I apologize for that. Okay, let's move on. I enjoyed that breakdown very, very much. 8:05 p.m. Eastern next, and this begins the Taint parlay of the day. The Taint parlay is we're going with the White Sox next. Jose, my man. The Taint parlay today is a White Sox, Red Sox spot at plus 198 for ye old Taint. And shout out to Taint. Oh, I can't use that one. Remember? I got to remember which one we can't use. Let's use this one. Let's go here. Taint. And a lot of the cappers in the chat have been talking about the K promo today on FanDuel. So you're going to get the boost, which means it's even more important to watch our guy Sharpie's show, which is coming up about an hour and a half after this one ends, 3:10 p.m. Eastern. So you got the FanDuel boost, means must watch Sharpie on Thursdays and all the time, but especially on these Thursdays. All right, so we have the Taint parlay, White Sox, Red Sox. Let's talk about these White Sox. 53-51, 28-22 on the road at the Texas Rangers, 46-58, 21-29 at home at Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas, and the roof is going to be closed. This was my first thought too. Got to back Johnny Cueto. He's pitching so well. We had I forget who was in the chat, but say that Johnny Cueto has been the White Sox MVP this year, and that's a fair thing to say about Cueto. 4-4, 2.86 ERA, 1.17 WHIP. Their starting staff is being hurt and injured and pitched poorly at times, but not Cueto. He's been given the shimmy out there, and he's been pitching well. His last start, 7 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs. There were solo shots, 2 Ks, 1 walk, and a 3-2 win at home. On the road, he's been so good. 3-1, 1.70 ERA, 228 opponents, batting average. The issue here is Cole Ragans. So this kid's the real deal. A 24-year-old first-round pick, 30th overall out of high school, North Florida Christian in Tallahassee. He had 10 starts in AA for the Frisco Rough Riders and 8 starts in AAA for the Round Rock Express. And there was no fallback when he moved up to AAA. He pitched excellent in both spots. Overall, 8-5, 3.04 ERA, 1.12 WHIP, 113 Ks, 31 walks, allowed 10 home runs in 94 2/3. This guy, the first thing I thought was White Sox smash lefties. You're going to feed this kid to the wolves. And then I thought maybe not, because the market didn't move. There was no movement after fucking 18, 16, 17 hours. There was no movement towards the White Sox. And I found that astonishing when we know what they do to lefties. And here's this kid being fed to the wolves. There's now been a 5-cent move. There was a 5-cent move an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. From a total perspective, it went from 8.5 to 9. Let's take a look at the cash flow in this one. 8,637 tickets in, 89% of tickets, 94% of cash on the White Sox, and no movement at all. 33% of tickets, 95% of cash on the under, which tells me that this kid can pitch. By the way, Joe Yurkovich just locked in Tigers first 5 team total over 1.5 and Tigers -1 at plus 250. I like it, Joe. I can't wait to hear this breakdown. Take it away. We have White Sox, Rangers, Sharpie.
I mean, these are this kid, for one, I don't bet on kids, even though he's got good minor league numbers. I could tell you a few guys right now who's had really good minor league numbers that are in the major leagues right now, and they're just getting their freaking salad tossed like they're little kids in prison, guys. Minor leagues is not the major fucking league, so I can't bet on a kid until I see it. I'm not going to be guessing like, oh, this guy's been great. No, you got to show me in the big leagues, and then I'll look to back you. But I get it, guys, and I hear you on the White Sox smash lefties, but they really aren't at the end of the day. Over the last 200 plate appearances, they only have a 250 average, a 679 OPS, and an ISO of a 0.99. They haven't been hitting lefties. Lynch just went out there and lynched these guys. At the end of the day, he had a solid-ass game. I believe they had 2 hits in that game. They're not the team we think. They're really streaky. For about a month, they were crushing lefties this year. And that's about it. So, I mean, a lot of people still have that in their head that it was last year and about a month this year. But they've been back on the trend of not hitting lefties over their last month. They just haven't been doing it. So there's no way I'm looking to back the White Sox, even though to me it's either White Sox or pass. I can't bet on a kid, not until I see him.
I love everything that you just broke down there. The White Sox bullpen been pitching better of late. The question is, can we trust the Rangers bullpen? Because if I could trust this Rangers bullpen, I would move on this under 9 right now. The 4.5 is telling, though, that it's
Can
a
you
4.5.
trust the bullpen over the last 30 days with a 5.48 ERA collectively?
No, you can't. But the White Sox bats, I loved your stats against lefties. And we know that White Sox have no power versus righties, even though they've been better of late. No, you're right. You can't trust that bullpen. And that's why the first, it's so telling that the first 5's at 4.5 and the full game is at 9. I am going to move on this first 5 under 4.5. And but God, I would much rather take that 9. I mean, they're saying that 5 runs could score in the last 4 innings. God, yeah, the White Sox bullpen's been nice, Jack. And but the fact that 95%, you know what? Maybe this is a I can't double up. It's just crazy talk. I can't double up and trust this fucking Rangers bullpen. I've got to figure out what to do, but I'm going to be on an under here. So I'm going to be on under, whether it be first 5 or full game. I'll have to figure out after the show. And Taint parlay is Red Sox, White Sox. And Sharpie, that was a really helpful breakdown for me. Okay, let's move on. 8:10 p.m. Eastern. We have not only the second half of Taint, but we also have Ron Crawford play of the day. Here we go. Johnny Gunn says, I feel like we can trust the White Sox against this young lefty. This is a big start for the kid. I hear you. And I completely hear Sharpie wanting to see it. And we know Matty Ice, makes good money fading these first-time starters. The market, though, for me is Jack agreeing with Johnny. Look, I just think it's extremely telling that all the actions on the White Sox and the market's not moving a fucking cent. Red Sox, Royals next up, Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. Let's go to the weather in Kansas City. It is hot and humid, 90 Fahrenheit, feels like 98, 7.7 miles per hour in the pitcher's ballpark. Dies down to 6. Move over to the line history in this Red Sox, White Sox start. And here we go. Oh, and this is the last game on the card, I believe, right? This is the last game on the card. Okay. Red Sox, White Sox. This total opened up at 8.5. It moved to 9 at 8 in the morning. And money line wise, just a 5-cent move to the Boston Red Sox. Jet Flying 999 says over in the Red Sox game. And the market looks like it's moving in that direction. Let's see where the cash lies in this one. 7,351 tickets in. 86% of tickets, 92% of the cash on the Red Sox, and the market not moving towards them. 30% of the tickets on the under and 92% of the cash, but it's moved from 7.5 to 8, which is tricky. Pivetta against Bubic. Pivetta 8-8, 4.47 ERA, 1.32 WHIP on the season. His splits are similar, road, home. His last start was 9-4 loss at home, 5 innings, 9 hits, 4 runs, 2 homers, 4 Ks, 2 walks. Hosmer returns to Kansas City. Interesting angle, Ron. And by the way, White Sox moved -115 to -132 on Penny. So that's it's an important note that Lee Davis is saying. And this is why I should have Penny as our line movement, because Bet365 sits back and watches what Penny does. And then Penny opens the line with limits. I mean, you can't bet more than $200 at times when Penny opens up that line. They're just doing it to gain information. Important. And I should probably move that over. That's very important. Thank you for sharing that with us, Lee. Because remember, that's limits. That's why, our NFL show for the breakdown is going to be Tuesday nights. But there's some people that believe that it's better to do a show on Wednesday because the limits are gone. I don't really believe that. I think it's best to get the information as early as possible with the market moves and, just an understanding with us that there's going to be limits until Wednesday in NFL. Bubic going up at home. He's been awful this year. He's been bad everywhere, but this is a high upside kid with a ton of potential. And he showed that in that 11-5 loss at the Yankees. He had a quality start, 6 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 homers, 6 Ks, 2 walks. But at home, he's 1-4 with a 6.32 ERA, 295 opponent's batting average. Red Sox first lefties, 263, 768 OPS. Royals versus righties, 242, 672 OPS. Jay Peasy says Red Sox is the Jay Peasy tale of the day. And Robert Cherry says he likes the Royals first 5 money line and Bubic over 4.5 Ks. Let's hear what the K-Prop Master has to say about that. Take it away, Sharpie. Red Sox, Royals.
Yeah, I definitely don't hate anybody looking at Booby or Titty Boy or whatever you guys want to call him. I just
Titty
don't
Boy.
bet on shitty pitchers at the end of the day. If you got Titty in your name, I'm just going to have to pass. So, but yeah, he's going up against the team in the Red Sox who, yes, they strike out the lefties, but they fucking hit lefties pretty fucking well, and he ain't nothing to write home about. And this Royals bullpen has been pretty trash too with a 4.09 ERA over the last fucking 30 days. So I expect these Red Sox to hit him and to get to this bullpen. Now, can you trust Nick Pivetta? He hasn't been that fucking solid, guys, over the last few fucking games, but he was solid at the beginning of the year. But his last 5 games, all but 1 game, he's given up more than 4 earned runs. So I can't fucking trust him, even though this team has traded half of their fucking players. This guy hasn't been bet on, so he is going up against the team striking out 25% of the time in the Royals right now. And in the 3 times that he's gone up against that this year, he had 11, 7, and 4 strikeouts respectively. So it may be a spot to go look at it, Nick Pivetta's strikeout prop, but it's just hard to bet on a guy who's been shitty, guys. And I expect Bubic to get hit, and I don't know what to expect from Pivetta. I expect him to get hit too. The guy just hasn't been that good.
Didi Gregorius released. I'll break this news now too because I know this is coming. Didi Gregorius signs with the Yankees. Put a fucking stamp on that. Lock that in. That's gonna happen. But Phillies released Didi Gregorius.
Wow, I thought it's
wow.
He can't be on the playoff roster though, right? Because the you had to be moved by the trade deadline.
You have to be on the roster for at least a month.
Yeah, it's not that you were traded; he was released. Difference, loophole.
So yeah, so if he joins a team like now and then goes to October, he's fine. Like the Red Sox added Jose Iglesias last year after he got released from the Rockies.
Okay,
but he wasn't on the roster for a month, so they couldn't put him on the playoff roster.
Baseball goes by once you're released, they go to the worst team to the best team, and you get picked. Do you want them? Do you want them? Do you want them? Do you want them? Do you want them?
Yeah, and I guarantee you that the Yankees will pick up Didi Gregorius.
They're the last ones next to the Dodgers. You don't think someone's going to pick them up before then?
No.
Jose, stay with us. Pavetta Bubic, your Red Sox in play. What are your thoughts on this final game on the card?
Red Sox win. They're the other half of the Say Hey parlay. I wrote it down. It's like plus 203. Sox, Blue Jays. I don't know what they are, but I'm excited to see Eric Hosmer at first base today. I think Ron Crawford mentioned it because, of course, he's a Royals guy. Eric Hosmer coming back to Kansas City. There's a little wrinkle there. I'm assuming he'll start this game because the Red Sox have had the worst first base defense I've ever seen ever and of all time in any position of all time. So he's been bad this year, allegedly, according to Moose Money. But I will take that over Franchi Cordero. He's a good bat. I'm excited to see this offense now, or I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, I'm kind of back in on the wild card, but I do think they win today. I think that they struggle against teams. This is going to be the fucking no-duh statement of the year, but they struggle against teams with good pitchers, and no one on this Royals staff or bullpen really scares me. So, yeah, Sox.
Okay. I'm just going to cheer you guys on. I'm going to cheer on your parlay, the Taint parlay, and the spreadsheet play of the day. All right, let's review all action here. That is our breakdown. Don't forget, big shows coming up here on the channel. We have The Walking Dead, 3:10 p.m. Eastern, hosted by Sharpie, who joined us today, and he's got a ton of player prop action. There's a boost at FanDuel, so it's a perfect day. Thursday's a perfect day for Sharpie show. Then we have our guy, Jose. He's got the Say Hey play of the day, Say Hey show at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Dabby Cab is the special guest. And then at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, we have the daily sesh. All right, let's talk about it. I'm going to move on either the Alouette team total under or the full game under in Bombers Alouettes. And I've got to decide that. We have action going on right now. So we'll start talking about at 3:45 p.m. Eastern. Jose's on the Dodgers Giants over 8 at minus 105. Jose's on the A's first 5 at plus 102. Sharpie gets his official picks for our show started with Musgrove over 7 Ks, 7 or more at plus 165. Jose has Rockies first 5 at plus 242 and full game at plus 247. I'm very interested in the Nats, and I've got to figure out what to do with it or maybe leave it alone. Mike M's on the Phillies first 5 minus a half. That's the pimp slap play of the day, number 1. I've got to decide what to do with Braves Mets spot. The first 5 under 4.5 I have here in my notes, so I will be breaking that down when the show's over and deciding whether to move on the first 5 under 4.5 in Braves Mets. Sharpie's on the Guardians team total under 1.5 at minus 116. I will be on the first 5 under 4 in Astros Guardians. Sharpie's on the Tigers first 5 team total over 1.5 at minus 113. I will be on the Tigers first 5. I need to decide whether that's plus a half or on the money line. Pimp slap play of the day number 2 is Detroit first 5 plus a half. I'm going to be on the Jays first 5 at minus 125. Manoah versus Gray. Then I've got to decide what to do with the under that I want to bet badly in Texas. And I don't know if you see a tweet that says first 5 under 4.5 and full game under 9, know that I'm going to cut that. I'm not going to put 150 on each of those. If I double up, I'll even move it down to 100 at max 125. I do not want to sit here today and have $300 on a pitcher making his first start. Although I do think that Cole Ragans is capable here. And I love Sharpie stats about the White Sox in the last 30 days. I didn't realize that they were hitting lefties at that low of a number. And then we have Red Sox Royals that we have stayed off, but it's a big part of the show today because the Taint parlay today is Red Sox money line, White Sox money line. Spreadsheet is on the Red Sox money line, and the Say Hey parlay of the day is Blue Jays Red Sox. And there you have it. Sharpie, it was a treat to cap with you again, my friend. Please follow Sharpie on Twitter. I know a lot of you do, but those of you who don't, please do. It's at Sharpie's Bets. I'm going to put his handle right here in the chat. But follow and support. Sharpie is as selfless as they come. All he wants is for our pockets to fatten, and that's exactly what he's been doing. Can you hit us with your record again, Sharpie, on the K-props?
I'm about to throw my fucking computer because Woodruff's pissing me off. I don't know how many two-strike counts he's had today and not finished them, so I might have to call the Kremlin to have his family fucking tied up until he starts, doing what he needs to do. But I have 111 wins and 55 losses, almost 67% this year. So, not too shabby.
Oof, that's phenomenal. That is phenomenal. Let's keep rolling. This post All-Star break run was much needed after that debacle the week before the All-Star break. I don't know what the fuck I was doing. It
wasn't just you there, bro. Like, literally, I haven't had 3 losing days in a row all fucking year. I did the 98th, 99th, 100th day of the fucking year, bro. Like, they were pulling pitchers at fucking 80 pitches, 70, oh fuck, it was disgusting that last week. It was disgusting.
My problem was I started betting more. I started reaching like an asshole, and you have to be consciously aware of the mistakes you're making as a capper, and like that's one of my mistakes. I start losing. I start moving on almost everything, every fucking lean, because I'm like, I got to get this back. I need a big night. So bothersome. But we're 26-10. 72.2% plus 15.84 units post All-Star break, coming out 4 in 1 day plus 3.5 units. We have nothing here at this channel without you guys in the chat. Thank you guys so much for your support. Please support our guy Sharpie show at 3:10 p.m. Eastern. He's got a ton more looks. And I think that, we know that he's all analysis with his black book, but now we've just put another 2.5 hours into the card. I can't wait to see what he's got for you guys on his show after all this work on the card. Shout out to all you guys. LJ from H-Town says, see you at 210 Central, Sharpie. Let's cash. XCal 360, Johnny Guns, Dizzy Rothstein. Much love to you, man. I'm not proud of my unit size. You can tell when a capper is succeeding because their unit size grows in it. But we're all in this together. That's the thing. Another thing about this channel is we're working together to become better cappers. And fuck, man, when you see my unit size of $500 a pop, then you'll be like, look, he's succeeding.
Jimmy, when they see your shit at 500, you won't have this show no more, my guy.
Well,
you'll be balling.
No, you know what? If I have $500 tickets in front of me, that's when that's when the show will, blow up. I know, Sharpie, your unit size is, bigger than mine, and I love it and respect it, and it's inspiring. Another thing that is a mistake in this industry, and I'll talk about it over and over again because it's a mistake in every industry, is you want your friends to succeed. You want your friends' unit size to grow bigger. You want your colleagues to grow a bigger following and have bigger unit size and succeed. The jealousy in this industry is a fucking such a mistake. So if you guys can just keep that in mind. If your friends are succeeding, then you too will succeed. If your friends are losing, then you too will fucking lose. You want your friends to have a big unit size to inspire you to get better, I've seen some of your big boy bets, and I'm just like, God damn, I want that in my life. But Gas Report, Dav Fenn, Alex Gagnon, Ron Crawford, Mally Mal, Jacksonville, Zoe, Tone Miggins, and thank you, Dizzy Rothstein, for the kind words. Wine Time Sports, AOD, Don Mack, Mike M, Jack Rosenblatt, Jack Jenkins, BJ, Officer of 50, Ayash Allah. All you guys, man, thank you. Jay Peasy, Anders Larson, thank you. Rem Most, all you guys, thank you. Reginald Luca, Royals moneyline, White Sox moneyline, Twins moneyline for Reginald. Thank you to our producer, Jose Bouquett, great job. And thank you to the man who makes this all possible, and that's Jeff Slaughter for Pub Sports Radio. Any final words for the cappers in the chat, Sharpie, and then can you let's us into the future?
Yeah, man. Until next time, guys, you might want to turn this down. I am a parental advisory type, so if you're at work If you're somewhere where you shouldn't hear curse words, I'm sorry because I'm not that guy. I did keep it toned down for this show for as much as possible, but we're here to fuck the bookies in the eye holes, guys. So pull them cheeks back today. No fucking Vaseline. And it's time for them to pay us. So until next time, put your fucking nuts on the table and have a blessed fucking day.